Game number 1. This is the second to last quarterfinal. Winner here will face China, which will also just be incredible. Miguel in the red. I spoke to him last week after they won their sets. Miguel said two things, and he also said don't spoil the important stuff, so I won't. But he said he was really happy that they 3-0'd in the previous set. That way they didn't have to show any of their strategies. And he said that they're pretty confident going in against Vietnam. So he's playing as Magyars, teamed up with Dogal, who's playing Mayans. And then up against Dogal, you have ACCM, who is Ethiopians. And in the green, we have Backed, who is the Franks.
So Archer at the top versus Horse at the bottom. And I already see that both players at the top kind of have a lot of open goal spots, and most of them pretty much to the front. Well, I will go for a wild prediction, predict that most of the aggression will be on the Archer side.
Yeah, now, we've seen a lot of Drush fast castling from ACCM, but Ethiopians in particular, Nilly. So I think you'd want to have more of a safe map. Of course, you'd always want that, but especially if you want to go for that strategy. It's not out of the question with ACCM, but I think it might be too risky to go for that with this type of a map. Yesterday's games between Canada and Spain, game 1, I think it was Spain who had so many forward resources, and Canada were able to castle drop that later on in an amazing game 1. So, yeah, pay attention to that long term.
Something we have to mention is thinking long term about all other maps as well. We still have Chaos Pit in the pool, and they did go for Magyars here, which is really surprising to me. Also remember that they instantly banned pick number 4, which was Inca's for Chaos Pit to come up later.
Yeah, I think Vietnam, they picked a map that Brazil were probably planning on picking for their own home map, actually. That's what's funny to me, because I think previously Brazil was playing a lot of Chaos Pit, and they were one of the teams practicing it in practice games, at least in the 2 sets I was able to see. So I think Brazil has a pretty good idea of what they want to go for, but you're definitely right that Magyars or any strong scout civ is typically used there.
Well, will be interesting for sure, and I think there was so much practice going on. I know that Brazil practiced a lot over the last weeks, and maybe they changed their home maps once or twice even. Obviously learning so much, right? It feels like the maps already had kind of an established meta, but so much changed, especially on Scandinavia, Team Islands, and Chaos Pit.
Yeah, in Scandinavia, we still haven't seen a lot, and you're correct in saying that I think that meta's changed for Team Islands. I used to think that landing was always the way to go, and landing always worked, but some teams found a way to counter that a little. Look at the walling here from ACCM. Dogao attacking that villager, and ACCM here protecting with his scout. This is interesting to see how early Dogal's scouting with that eagle, as the walls are also going up pretty early for ACCM, which tells me he might still be considering some type of a drush. But then again, that's less wood for him to build the barracks, and he loses a villager to the elephant. Ooh, that's
a big
not
loss there.
a start you want in a best of 5 like this. My goodness. I wasn't paying attention. Like, what happened there? Like, was he too late to react and send the villager back home? Very weird.
I'm really confused by that, and well, Dogao is going for the drush at the same time, and not really sure if he plays this one. Drush FC is going for big walls now.
Yeah, keep in mind that that's losing a villager against Mayans who start with 1 more vill. So, like, the fact that Mayans get loom early at the start is very helpful if you need to wall in more exposed areas, too. So, that villager cannot be sniped by the scout. ACCM scout's also pretty weak, Nilly, so I think better start for Brazil, as we see both Miguel and Backed on the way to feudal age at pretty much the same time.
Probably going to use the back gold there is Mr. Dogao. Goes for the big wall. It's quite surprising. Drush fast castle and ACM. With the rocky start here. Probably has to go for archers, but he sees that the wall's up already.
Dogal's badly housed. Like, he's been housed for 40 seconds. Yeah, I mean, that went from Dogal having a massive lead to tossing away a bit of that. But he does have the drush here, and the clear difference is that...
Overchop at the wood line at ACM.
Yep, he sees it. But, the clear difference right now is that we have I don't even know if it's standard meta now, Nilly, but we have archers and scouts the plan for Vietnam. And right now it looks like Drush Fast Castle for Dogao and scouts for Miguel.
Yeah, absolutely looks like it. And we did mention it earlier, right? The gold spot's not that pretty for ACM. He's not even on gold yet. Is he trying to make a skirm defense happen here, or is he too scared of those militia?
More focused on the scout at the moment, because if Miguel wants to, he's Magyar's. He could get a Vil pick here. There are 2 villagers, though, at the same time, so it was wise for Back to send 2 of them. No micro from Miguel. Does he need the micro? Oh! Wow. What a save.
Holy moly. And did maximum damage to the scout of Miguel. That was superb play.
Yeah, seriously. Now there's no worries there about that thing. He can get his walls up, and so ACCM with a shaky start, but very good start for Back. That's good to see for Vietnam. Also, at the same time, ACCM and Back were trying to get into Dogao's base, who partially placed all these palisade walls nearly. That could have been a disaster for him. So well played that he was able to get those walls down.
Yeah, good quick walling there for sure. Was very much on the knowledge about the timings. His drush is still a bit annoying. And ACM, he will struggle a lot. Look at that, sitting at 300 food, but not a single farm put down yet. Oh god, the cast stage timing difference will be like 4 or 5 minutes.
Well, Dogao did this twice in the 3 games that they played against Brazil B. It was just Drush Fast Castle. And it seems like, I mean, his map's not really great for it. And he says, I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to what I'm good at. And I don't think his uptime will be quite as good, but I recall 2 games where he was in Castle Age before 17 minutes, 2 ranges with crossbows. I mean, how do you stop that? So Vietnam really need to get those archers forward, I think. But the awkward thing is ACCM has to worry about the Drush still. So the archers almost need to stay home.
Well, maybe sending 1 back might be an option. But even sending 1 forward won't really break the walls. So will be tricky to get all the aggression rolling anyways. But just look at the food. Like, how is he getting enough income? 6 on berries, 4 farmers? Is that enough?
It's not enough.
Dogao?
No, I mean... Oh, for Dogao, excuse me. Okay.
No.
Yeah, of course, there's no farms at ACCM space. You know, it's not going to be as good as he would want. That's for sure. Also, I don't like the position of the range. I think ideally you'd have that at the front of your base. We'll see if Dogao can
the
pull
other
it
side,
off.
by the way.
Oh. Miguel's just been staying at home with his scouts and kind of assumed that because of that, he'd be okay and get the walls down, but backed with a good start today and also brought that spearman forward, which made all the difference.
Trying to jump on that villager. Nope, not going to happen for now. So far, the only kill still from the board towards ACM.
Yeah, I know, even though there's been so much action. Here come the archers and spearmen from ACCM. Backed might just... I wonder if he decides to just leave this hill and head over towards those walls to pressure Dogao. You know, it's interesting how Dogao has built his range in that location. I don't know if he was expecting pressure, and actually, never mind. ACCM swinging back over towards Miguel. This might be a better play for Vietnam.
Oh yeah, this will be tricky. Even if he gets the walls up, they're so easily broken. Miguel's only gold is there. Yo, I think he is forced into a defensive tower.
Yeah, be a wise move. This is the risk, guys. This is why we've said for quite some time that going archers and scouts is the safe play, because if you go Drush Fast Castle, then your teammate gets doubled. So I think there's actually some potential for house walling here, but there is a tower for Miguel, and he will probably do his best to act like he's going to fight, but never truly engage. And Dogao has to decide on sending support or sending the army forward, which I think would be ideal for Brazil. They want the military to damage Vietnam.
But the question is, can he do more damage than Miguel would take at the same time? Tower still not up, 80% only. Oh, this is tricky.
This is really tricky with archers and spearmen there. This is not the start that Brazil would want. The tower, will it go up? It does go up, but the losses are huge. This might end up being a decent clear up for Miguel, though, because the tower's helping out. Very interesting start, Nilly. Still, Dogao hasn't moved out. Miguel's probably telling him, well, I've taken losses, but you're okay to do your thing.
Oh, man, and that was incredible hold by Miguel. I think a lesser civilization and a lesser player would not have made the successful hold there. The cheaper scouts with more attack, just so good in the scenario. Miguel, very patient play. Yeah, some losses, but he did survive.
That said, his eco does not look good. He's just now adding some additional farms. He's still adding scouts. I don't know how useful that is. So, I remember like a month or two ago, I asked Miguel about what he felt about his chances in this tournament, and he said, "I don't think I'm playing my best Age of Empires ever, but Dogao's a beast, and so as long as I'm like good enough, we can do really well." So his perspective has probably changed, but Dogao's certainly here because I think Miguel's castle time will be worse than Backed. He's gonna have to play well. The Backed is on the way to Castle Age. Miguel only with 450 food.
Well, let's see if Dogao can deliver on the hopes here of Miguel for 5 crossbows. Already finding 2 archer killed. Oh, you see HCM preemptively already opening behind his woodline if he has to pull those villages away. But Dogao is actually aiming for back T.
Yeah, interesting decision there. Miguel has all these scouts, so he's probably saying, let's break through. I think it's unlikely, though, that if the crossbows and the scouts break through, they can do much. I suppose Miguel could run through with the scouts, but the crossbows certainly cannot. But
finding another angle. I think they need to go to the left-hand side, and then the TC won't be in the way.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this map? You can see the elevation on the mini-map for those watching. Whoa, what is this? Back doesn't have a blacksmith yet? Oh my god, he doesn't have a blacksmith yet. And the scouts are going to run through. This is a really good moment here for Brazil.
Did opt to go for double stable and market. It's going to be tricky. Builds another blacksmith in the back, another house there. I think he should be fine. You see, yeah, Archer's even distracting a bit.
Yeah, I think ACCM arriving here gave Brazil a more realistic target because there's no guarantee of doing damage. And they'll be happy if they're able to kill some archers. But props to ACCM, who has clicked up. And again, we talked about Miguel's potential slow uptime. He's going to be way faster than ACCM, who really was the one who started off with problems today for Vietnam.
ACM might lose all his archers. Let's take a look. Crossbows are diving in deep, but get some kills. ACM getting value out of those archers, although he should be outranged.
Yeah, getting some value. Did have to pull off of a woodline, but didn't take losses there. There's a big problem for Vietnam, though. It's the fact that Dogao is freely booming. He'll have ballistics here in a second. He's on 2 TC, so it's not the craziest boom you've ever seen. But 42 villagers for him. He does have the lead. And also, he has 20 military.
And surprisingly, ACM only at 10.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird to me. Maybe adding a 3rd archer range feels like the right time now.
Yeah, ACCM has just had some massive struggles this game. And straight archers didn't accomplish as much as they maybe would have wanted to. Of course, they did delay Miguel, so we'll see. If Miguel falls behind Backed because of all of that, then maybe Backed can carry. Dogao's he'll show up with a group, do a little bit of damage, run away. You know, he's not looking to overinvest right now. He's definitely investing into eco, and it's a nice approach.
Okay. So the big question... Oh, Miguel even triple stable? What is happening here?
3 stables, so he'll be 1 town center for quite some time. I say that as he adds a 2nd TC. But yeah, I don't think he can afford to produce out of 3 stables, Nilly. He's only producing out of 2, so that's a surprise to me as well.
Weird. And he had villager losses before that.
Maybe he felt the need to go 3 stables because of the losses. And this is not what ACCM wants. No ballistics yet for him, but upgrades on the way.
Okay, bolt some more towards his gold. He's a bit scared of Miguel's knights coming over. +2/+2 and bloodlines. Sounds pretty lethal to me. Bacti is trying to protect some.
Yeah, Dogao just waiting on his hill, as Dogao is going to be on 4 archer ranges soon. This is ridiculous play from Dogao. He has the most villagers in the game, 54, and he also has the most military. Very impressive. I like how he's going for the ranges before the 3rd town center, because the risk would be that you lose military control after booming. So he prioritized boom, then said, let's get our military count up, And then let's go for that 13C, and he's just now adding that on the very exposed forward gold.
Oh, but Bacti is jumping here onto the army of Dogao. Knights of Miguel not helping out.
Oh yeah, there's not much from Miguel, so it's all about Dogao and his micro. Back does have 7 knights. This is an interesting fight. It does feel like Dogao's going to have enough for this to be a reasonable fight for Brazil, and the extra attack from Miguel helping out there in some of those engagements as well.
8 villager lead now for our Brazilians. Not the biggest one ever, but it just feels the army numbers. Plus 10 there for them, really helping them out, having the map control.
Yeah, it's like Bact need... You would want Bact to mass his knights, but he's also needed right now at ACCM's base, because ACCM is going to get brutalized by this. So I can understand why Bact was there, but he has no choice but to sit back and wait and add more stables. I mean, his eco's looking good for himself, but Brazil is about to dive in to kill ACCM.
Uh-oh, that's problematic. 1 tower, 1 KHP, not the craziest thing ever. Crossbows not in the numbers. Bacti is helping out now. There's going to be a clutch hold.
Yeah, let's see here. Those knights will get the hill. It looks good for the start, but there's also only 6 or 7 knights there, Nilly. The tower should be focusing on the crossbows. Good move from ACCM to do that, and actually that is a good hold. You're right. Just barely, they're able to hold on.
Yeah, but that also meant ACM without any golden come over the last, let's say, 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the case of one team having control and reaping the rewards of it, right? Because Dogao's gold on the front, definitely not ideal, and that would look problematic if Brazil didn't have control. But because Brazil have control, these golds for ACCM are looking really problematic right now, especially when that main gold gets pressured. So the pressure's on for Vietnam. It's not looking good for them because their archer players behind, and Dogao's playing so good. I think Bact is going to need to step it up a bit.
Bact is trying to. He is adding some more stables, is adding 3 and 4 knights in production. Will be tricky though. Now he is facing the double, and ACM takes some time to come over to 8.
Yeah, this is tough, right? I say Bact needs to step it up a bit, but he's doing what he can. You know, you can only do so much. You can only afford so many knights. That stable's going to get denied. Nice natural switch over here to pressure Bact because Brazil will know the situation. And look at Dogao, still crossbows on that hill. Still crossbows looping around to that wood line, all the while pressuring with his main force between the stables. This is very impressive play from him.
Taking out the stables is such a good move for them as well. So they know, okay, Miguel technically has 3 stables that they can produce out of.
Yeah.
And Bacti, he won't get on those numbers.
I hope I'm not coming off too strong here with my praise for Dogao, but he has looked like one of the best players in the tournament, man. I mean, this is their first true test. I suppose Brazil B was also supposed to be a true test, but it wasn't. But my goodness, it's so good. And you know he's going to do it. Or sorry, you know he's going to do it. He has a rough map, and he's still making it work. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Dogao, probably the player that is handled higher by top players than by viewers.
Yes, true.
Most of the time, all top players are saying Dogao in my top 10. Didn't really have the tournament results. Some round of 8 included there, but also like Chinese realized he's one of the best players in the world. Let's see how he can get out of this one.
Might be curse to the commentator here, Nilly. It's not easy for Dogao to get out of here, and there's a lot of knights for Bact. Bact has way more than Miguel does. So let's see. I get the numbers right there. It does seem like Bact has more, and it's only natural because he's so close to home. In the end, though, Nilly, I don't think that's the worst engagement ever for Dogao. He got thumb ring right before that fight. He's killed maybe just as many knights as Miguel has been able to lose, or did lose. So I thought it'd be worse for Brazil there.
I thought so as well. He was so surrounded at one point that they maybe have an upgrade advantage.
Well, Magyar Knights.
Bacti not having a single attack upgrade might have hurt them there.
Yeah. +2 attack for Miguel, no extra attack for Bact. This goes down, and here comes Dogao. They drop a castle right between those golds. And it's not just the castle position. It's still that Dogao has 33 military. Meanwhile, Bact is at 9. ACCM's at 28, but a lot of his military is on the other side. Just back to your point real quick. Do you remember the tournament that Killer B hosted way back in the day? Good old Killer B.
Killer B is Arabia Cup.
Yes. Okay. So prior to that, I don't know why I remember this little bit, but he asked Viper who he was most worried about in that tournament if Viper could face someone, and Viper had said Dogal. And then fast forward like 2 or 3 years after that, and it was Viper and Dogal in Hidden Cup. And while Viper was able to get the win there, Dogal definitely gave Viper the biggest challenge. So Dogal's looking good. 100 fills on the way to Imp.
And also 2016, China thought Dogao might be one of the best team game players in the world. Did take them to join SY and
Yeah, it's true.
Well, develop strategies with them.
Yeah, that's true. It's a really unique situation, right? Because he's not really able to communicate with them, but they said, we don't care. You're that good. That's a lot of knights for back. And oh my god, this could be a good moment for him. Oh, that's a great surround.
Holy moly, how did that one happen? And he got deep in there.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Dogal is going to be able to back away, but that was the best possible engagement that Vietnam could have asked for. Still might not be enough, though, with Dogal still having more military than ACCM and denying those goals.
Production of Dogao just out of control.
Yep.
And we only have 600 gold left for ACM on his main gold, and then he will be dry. That's 12 more or 15 more archers. What is he doing after that?
Feels like Dogal is just going to kill everything when he gets to the Imperial Age. He's 60% of the way. Not sure if he researched Obsidian Arrows, but it wouldn't be too out of the question here. Even just Arbalest and Bracer combined with Miguel's Knights over at Backspace would mean that Back would lose every single stable. All of his town centers, just everything would die. Crazy stuff.
Oh man, it is easy to look good, right? If you play Drashfast Castle, don't lose a single villager, can just dictate when to fight. But Dogao's numbers that he's putting on the field, just incredible.
It's crazy. You know, he's had the better eco, he's had the better numbers all game. And this is maybe why Miguel had said, like, Dogao's so good, I just have to play decent. And take nothing away from Miguel, who you struggled earlier, remember? And his vill count's looking good. He's at 84 villagers, so many knights in support. Say goodbye to your stables. Obsidian Arrows is in, by the way, Nilly. So all of these buildings will melt.
Oh, God. Okay, I don't need to think about the clickbait title for my next thumbnail. Dogao is now moving in, tries to go for the TC.
And we'll see if we even gets there, like, for that big finale, that big finish, because the GG will be called. Yeah, there we go. Kind of expected it. Because it was just too strong of a position for Brazil. I feel bad for ACCM because of the forward golds, but he lost a villager to an elephant, and he was completely outplayed. And as I said previously, if they had control, then the golds and the stones for Dogao could have been a concern, but they weren't because of Brazil's control. It was very bold, wasn't it, for Dogao to try this on this map, Nilly, and he made it look easy.
Don't know how. Obviously, May and bonus, you can build those walls cheaper, so that is coming in lovely. And also he knew Miguel, he will just continue producing scouts all feudal long.
Yep.
Therefore, it is easier for Dogao to cut some corners.
All right. Well, that's game one. That's Arabia, and we have some really fascinating home maps on the cards today, notably from Vietnam, which I was not expecting when I woke up this morning. There's the KD for you guys. And there's the resources collected. I feel like Back had a really good game. Miguel had a really good game, but ACCM was just on the back foot early on. And that can happen sometimes in 2v2s. But where do you go from here if you're Vietnam? You have, what is it, Chaos Pit and Scandinavia. I don't know which one you'd prefer to go to after losing game one.
I'd probably go more into a stable one. I think I'd rather see Scandinavia than Chaos Pit.
Okay. Now, you have quite a bit of experience with Scandinavia in this tournament. You guys practiced a bit on this, and I think used it in multiple sets. So, what's the thought process with Scandinavia? Are there a lot of options for strategies, or do you feel like there's a few civs that people should look towards?
The thing is, it plays so differently every single time you have different civilizations. It's a bit like Arena, right? You can't dictate like, oh, this is the special meta that we will see every single time on Arena. If you have Cumans, everything plays differently. If you have Teutons, everything plays differently.
Yep.
And on Scandinavia, it's kind of the same. You can go for heavy water play, like Italians, Japanese are good options. You can play the super boom approach. Some people went for Celts. It just feels like Mongols, often a good option.
And the other thing, is it's highly dependent on civilizations, but it's also dependent on map spawn. Sometimes you have the water at the back of the team. Sometimes you have the water on the sides. So it's quite difficult to know what you can do every time. And you have to, I think, practice all those situations. So when you do encounter them, you know what to do.
Yeah, and that's a lot of practicing to do, right?
Yeah,
Because that's
seriously.
kind of, and then there's even this diagonal spawn where it's kind of impossible to spot all sneaks. And well, then it becomes really, really scrappy. Like everyone kind of fighting on water. Then the guy that skips water has the best boom, but then again, the others have more map control. It becomes really wild. And
Okay.
something we often see are that Berbers are picked against Mongols.
Damn it, you stole that. Ah, that was
Sorry.
what I was gonna say next. All right, well, just to expand on that, um, the Vietnamese players love Berbers. Like they picked Berbers before it was cool, and in situations where I didn't like it. Like I think I was casting with you in Hidden Cup 3, and I called ACCM because you picked Berbers on it was like cross just for the faster villagers. And so
Mhm.
Berbers, I think, fit here if you want the faster villagers to dock the enemy side, but also it fit if you're expecting Mongols. So could be fascinating though, because you also experienced playing against Berbers, and if you get to a certain point in post imp, Berbers can struggle against heavy siege civilizations.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like they have a good timing in Castle Age against Mongols, early imp, but against SO, Siege Ram, you kind of need a team partner that maybe can put some heavy cavalry in front of you.
Okay, well we can see the civilizations. We have a few minutes yet till we're in the game, and it will be Huns and Mongols, very classic civilizations for Brazil. And then we have Malians and Berbers for Vietnam. And I think I prefer the civilizations for Vietnam, Nili. What do you think?
Hmm. I think I want to see a sling onto Mongols if I see that one.
Ooh.
Maybe a hunt player simply going for halberdiers mainly could be an option. I don't really want to see Miguel going for too many paladins here. If we look at
Yeah.
Malians, heavy camels, Berbers, heavy camels that are cheaper.
I think I like the idea of Miguel playing heavy on water, but you're right. You don't want to go Cav Archers with Huns. You don't want to go Knights in this matchup. So prioritize water and boom, and then maybe send all of your resources to Dogal, because if you get to Elite Mangadai while the enemy is still in Castle Age, GG. Or even if the game goes late and you end up getting to Elite Mangadai and Siege Onager, you have the potential to 1v2. But yeah, 3 minutes yet till we hop in. I'm really
Looking
excited for
ahead,
this.
looking ahead for Team Islands, Brazil A will most likely play Vikings. What's their second civ then? Are they trying to play Malay? Not typically the civilization that I can think of when it comes to landing. Maybe Brazil will just play Malay Vikings full water.
Um, Malay Vikings. There's been a few teams toying around with that idea, Nilly, where you just expect the landing, you wall it out, you win water, and then you add military at home. But yeah, I think Malay Vikings is really the only combination that makes sense. But you could also say Lithuanians. Well, no, hold on a second. Let's break this down. Chaos
We
Pit,
have
they want a scout
okay.
civ, so they want either Lithuanians or Slavs there. I prefer Slavs personally.
For
Ghost
what? For
Lake,
Chaos Pit? For go
yeah, and like Ghost Lake, you're gonna probably want either
were you
Lithuanians
coached
or
by
Slavs
Hera?
as well. Wait, what?
No. I think Slavs are horrible for Chaos Pit.
You, well, I mean, it was horrible yesterday.
Yeah, and like Slavs are great once you get to 20 plus farmers, which in Chaos Pit is rarely the case.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point. Yeah, but to simplify my thoughts here, which did not come out so simply, I think Lithuanian Slavs, they have to be used on one will be used on Ghost Lake, one will be used on Chaos Pit. So I don't think they could be used on Team Islands, and it has to be Malay Vikings when that comes, if that comes.
I think Slavs might actually not be picked at all. I think it will be Aztec Lithuanians,
On Chaos Pit,
Indians,
yeah.
exactly, Indians, Britons for Ghost Lake, and Lithuanians together with, like, yeah, and Vikings, Malay.
It's
I
interesting
think we
how
won't see
early they
Slavs.
picked Slavs, right?
Hmm.
With that in mind, but sometimes you have to break it down after the fact. So we'll see. And we haven't talked a lot about what Vietnam could go for. They do have some strong civs. Teutons being there makes me think they might consider that on Chaos Pit. Good scout civilization. If Aztecs are out there, it's fantastic because the Aztec monk bonus is neutralized. Plus, there's not a lot Aztecs can do against Teuton Paladin in late game. Um, yeah, what's funny is I think Brazil probably were looking to go for something like Teutons because I've seen them play Chaos Pit previously in this tournament with Teutons. So I don't know. Teutons it's nice to have them in that spot because you don't want them on any other spot except maybe Arena, which we won't see here. So pretty easy to
Yeah.
draft with that in mind.
Okay, then let's jump into the action and we can take a good look at how the rivers are flowing.
Oh, man. This is what we're talking about with Scandinavia. So for the Brazilians, they're kind of to the northeast-ish. Miguel in the red playing Huns. In the yellow, we have Dogal playing as the Mongols. But there's water on either side of each team. And here's backed in the green, he's Malians. And then here's ACCM in the blue, he's Berbers. So you don't really need to use your villagers to sneak here. It's very possible we could have 1v1s with water on each side.
And then it becomes really tricky playing against Mongols. They can play brutal times. If they realize that the river is there, which they instantly do, you can see Dogao instantly scouting in that direction. He can play something wild like pop 22, and then the defense won't be easy for back team.
Now, it's interesting. If this does turn into a water war, there's a lot of walling that should and needs to happen in the middle as the scouts engage. And, oh, this could be important, Nilly. Nothing too crazy there as Dogal bails. But, yeah, while it is, I'd say it's easy to wall because of all the wood lines on Scandinavia, there's also a lot to wall.
And the big question is, like, how do you wall? Do you do the, well, I'm only walling myself. Are we doing team walls here? I'm personally a big fan of team walls. I know that Jordan absolutely hates them. We had so many discussions about these. And yeah, but we went through the series against Russia, and Viper in the end said that that team wall might have costed us the game against Russia because our Grush was just so delayed. So it is tricky to find the middle ground between being safe and still contesting water.
Yeah, and I think it's not just do you make a team wall, it's when do you wall, right? If you invest into the wall early to feel more safe, then you might not have as many resources to invest on water, and maybe that's what Viper was alluding to a bit. I'm really curious to see what Viper and MBL will bring against Russia later today in the final quarterfinal. They obviously are heavily favored to win that set, but I'm unsure on how much they practiced yet. Like, I think if they beat Russia, then there's going to be a heavy week of practice for them. But I know Russia's been playing a lot of games. Like, I mean, I'm still getting messages from Dark every other day. They're looking for teams to play with, so I'm like, sorry, Dark.
They stopped messaging us.
Really? Oh, that's funny, actually. They stopped messaging you. They're like, okay, we already handled those guys.
Yeah, 10-0.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, was it really 7-0 in the practice games you played with them?
Yeah.
And then 3-0 in the... Wow, that's rough. Well, if it makes you feel any better, we haven't played them yet. So they've been asking, but we didn't get to play them. So they didn't know how bad we were going to be.
More on the later side of the dock here for Dogao, I would say. And maybe pull the third boar early. It feels like Mongols. The third boar is kind of left over very often. If you just play 2 boars and click up to feudal age.
Yeah, I'm not liking the wood efficiency for Dogao right now. Look at these villagers bumping. He's got 4 villagers on one side of the lumber camp and 1 on the other. And that's costing him. But he is going for the third boar. He'll bring that in. And I think the expectation here, Nilly, is that we will see water fighting on both sides.
The question now is, do you go for land a bit? Like, some men-at-arms could be good.
Yeah.
Sneaking a villager, getting some archers in. I don't see any dots on the minimap yet where they don't belong.
Yeah, that's a lot of investment. I suppose man-at-arms in theory is less investment than something like scouts because you don't need the barracks and then the stable. Plus, you can do damage a bit faster, but you're still If you build a barracks, that's one less dock that you could have. And a lot of teams are going to consider... Okay,
That
somebody
is
dropped.
not a restart.
Yeah, somebody dropped, and they have to restore. So we have plenty of time for speculation, I guess, Nilly.
Yeah, well, actually, if they drop, they also dropped 5 minutes ago, right? So technically, it's not like we will have to sit through the full 5 minutes back delay again.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like 4 players crushing here most likely, and a bit earlier with the walls are the Brazilians.
Let's see. Okay, so we have 4 minutes to wait. Yeah, they're going for a larger spec delay than some of the other players have gone for. I think default we have set is 2. That's fair. It doesn't bother me if they have a little bit more of a delay, but they'll be back in a second. So you have Mongols versus Malians on the right side, and then the left side we have Huns against Berbers. Which civ do you favor on either side?
Mongols over Berbers, and I think no Mongols over Malians. And Berbers against Huns feels relatively even, especially because both players kind of docked a bit towards each other, especially ACM. I think with Berbers, you could actually make an argument trying to dock away as much as possible and go for the mass galleys with the extra speed on them.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm really... I feel like a delicate balance you need to have is when you switch off of water, if you do. So if you gain a lead on water, that's often an invitation to maybe add that barracks, add that stable, make scouts, make knights or whatever. But you do that too early and you don't fully control water, then that can be an issue. And I think some teams have struggled to find that balance. I think Brazil will want to have Miguel in a good position to boom because I don't see Huns really shining against Malians or Berbers. So if he gets an economy lead, then that could be good for Brazil. But overall, I think Vietnam will be very happy with their civs.
Well, let's see how it will play out, how they will wall. Maybe we get into a wacky game where they overinvest into water and maybe Miguel can squeeze something in. Maybe it's just a short crush and then Mango dive from Dogao. Not really expecting that. I think playing the hyper long game might be a bit better for them.
Okay.
The big question is, how will this game develop if either team wins one leg?
Yeah.
Pawn.
I'm going to
River.
answer a few questions here that I'm getting in my chat about the draft. So the way it's set up here is teams will start off picking the home maps, and all that information's on the screen. And then at the beginning of the draft, there's a global ban from each team. So Goths are globally banned. That's bottom left for Vietnam, and then bottom right is Italians for Brazil. After that, they go back and forth picking civilizations. Then after that concludes, there's a snipe, which on my screen is a crosshair. On Nilly's screen, I think it's an X. And so those are civs that are taken away from the draft, and then the civs that have been played have the other indicators there. So it's I imagine like you're new to the game and you show up and there's all these little symbols and whatnot. It's pretty confusing, but it's very important. It's all about strategy and planning, and we saw Spain yesterday. I guess we didn't really talk about this much, Nilly. Really get a big lead just with strategy and thinking through the games.
Yeah, like game number 2 was simply a strategic win. I'm not really sure that was like we can't really congratulate Spain for that. It's more the fault for Canada. But game number 3 was a masterpiece.
After the tournament, I might look back at game 2 from Canada yesterday as the most confusing out of all of them. Like, I guess there was some in the group stage, where it didn't make sense, but like for a team of that caliber to play that the way they did was still really, really confusing.
I think, yeah, it was really high up there. I think there was also a game like China B, Burmese, no stone, then bought 700 stone for a castle.
At least you knew the plan, though. Like, I'm not saying it's a good plan. At least you knew the plan. I didn't know what the plan was yesterday. But anyways, after the disconnect, guys, they have restored and will be in here, and they're just going to pick up right where they left off. Unfortunately, with technology being what it is and it being a 20-year-old game, there can be some issues sometimes. And we're back in business now, Nilly. So we're expecting feudal age. What do you think about the fact that Dogao is already floating a villager to wall?
Well, it obviously reduces your wood income, right? He
Mm-hmm.
is on the way to feudal age. Might even be playing one lumber camp here, which is okay at the start, but typically your woodline will get really inefficient. So he's trying to cut some corners.
Yeah, cutting some corners to get the docks out quickly. Now, right behind him, 2 feudal will be backed. Nice thing about Back's position is Backed has 3 fishing ships working right now, so a little more food income. And Malians are one of the best civilizations for this spot. All of their buildings are discounted on wood, so that extends to their houses, that extends to their mining camps, lumber camps, and docks. So Mongols, their only real bonus is that since they bring in so much food from the hunt, they can get feudal faster. But in the mid-game, you prefer Malians on water.
Probably. Yeah, you don't get that many houses out. Obviously, something we don't really discuss is that you don't really save 25 wood, but also the time that the villager is actually building the house, you can chop some trees in the meantime,
Yeah.
so you're actually saving a bit more, but still a bonus that doesn't really heavily scale in the long run. Let's take a look. Dogao reached feudal age. He's opening with fire galleys.
All right, so fire galleys for Dogao. He's opening with Fire Galley, actually. He didn't have the resources for the second one right away. And also just got housed. And this can happen when you're not used to these types of maps because you're producing out of 2 docks and your town center. So badly housed for Dogao. That slows him down in some ways. And now you'll have the others arriving to feudal.
And it happens a bit because that villager that built the second dock normally builds the house. But he is actually building the stone gate. So, yeah. A bit of a slip up in the build order there because of that.
Yeah, Scout's still engaging. That can be really important if you want to break through any of these walls. And good move from Backed and Dogao. Both very similar HP here. But Backed has the lead there as Dogao will scramble to a hill. On the other side, we have a Scout from ACCM. But that Scout is weak. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he killed Miguel's Scout.
Indeed he did.
So lots going on here with the Scouts. Higher HP Scouts for ACCM and Backed.
Okay, now taking the engagement with the hill, but Backed should get the kill there.
Okay.
So 2 scouts left for Vietnamese, but both low HP.
Ooh, good start to this fight for Dogao. Backed patrolled, but was one fire galley, didn't hear word from the next that was happening, and that's unfortunate, and that sets him back further than he would want.
Oh, man. Already
really
lost
bad.
Massive amount here. Lost 90 HP compared to only 27 HP lost. Pretty good start for the Gao, but now it should be 5v2.
Yeah, 5v2. You can have a demo or 2 coming out at some point. I think we really are going to see Backed overwhelm Dogao with numbers. Let's see what Dogao can do with production. He's actually has 2 demos and a fire coming out, so he's going earlier for the demos. I think you normally go fires out of 2 docks and then demo out of 1, not the other way around.
Huh, okay. Well, I don't really... I don't have a good rule of thumb for that, but I know that Dogao is now taking a good fight 4v3. First demos out. Could get some connections.
Yeah, could. Dogao does micro. Demo still could connect, and now here comes that demo, and micro could have been better for Backed, but fire ships are clunky sometimes. Nilly, we have to worry about the other side, too, so this is really going to be tough for us because the players might engage at the exact same moment.
Yeah, we need picture-in-picture for this one for sure. Something that we rarely mention is that actually Berber get a reasonable bonus there. 10% faster moving fire galleys means they have a better time moving away from demos, and their demos connect more often.
Yeah, let's see. Nice job there from ACCM. That's a wasted demo for Brazil. Backed almost lost that scout there. I'm looking at the walls. It looks like Brazil have fully walled and even adding stone walls now nearly.
Well, if they want to play the very long game, makes lots of sense to me.
Reminds me of a certain German team doing that. Against Argentina. Worked well. Demo looking for a target, and I guess
ACM gets a beautiful one.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong side.
Yeah, it is tricky. It is tricky. There's so much going on and so much like moments.
Yeah. Oh, then there's a lot of weak ships in there for Miguel. He's also outnumbered. He does not have all of his docks queued up, and a demo is very late here. This is awful for Miguel.
Oh yeah, lots and lots of a demo maybe to finish this one off.
Oh, it gets the
Bam.
ships, and the fishing ships will have to sail away. If ACCM can keep the fires coming out, this is perfect for him and his team. As meanwhile, on the other side, it's pretty 50-50.
8 to 20 military at the moment. Oh god, massive lead here for Vietnam.
Yeah. This is their home map, a map that they practiced. Very good connect there from back, as well as those fires should be taken out. And now Dogal's even falling off of water. Yeah, this is not what Brazil would have wanted.
Another demo into the fishing ships, and ACM with the full control here. The question now, how long are you continuing to produce fire galleys, and when are you getting fish?
Yeah, I just checked that. I went to ACCM's point of view to see if he would queue up a few fishing ships. It feels like after this batch that he could justify doing that. There's plenty of fish around, and that would give him a good castle time. For Backed, I think you're in a fine position patrolling here, and maybe even can consider it as well, but it's definitely something that's more greedy, as he hasn't completely won his side.
Yeah, and as my mother always said, there's plenty of fish in the river, so can go for some nice boom on the river for sure.
Yeah, plenty of fish in the river. Not so sure about Backed, though, you know, like...
It's a German saying.
It's the German version. Gotcha.
We don't have C's here.
I was gonna say that's true. Nice job from Dogal. It's actually fantastic to get some value out of the repairs, but it does still seem like so many of them weak. One demo could end his day, and the castle age time looking good for Miguel, looking good for Dogal. So this is interesting. Is the fact that they were weaker on water simply down to the fact that they farmed more and invested more into land eco? I mean, I guess there's no farms for Dogal, but he did take all that hunt.
Maybe it is the bigger wall investment, right?
Yep, that too.
It just makes it so much tougher.
Yeah, Nilly, also, I think it might be... It's not ideal to lose your fishing ships, but if you're in Castle Age fast enough, maybe you could get your upgrades, and then you could overwhelm a little bit with a few demos. But it seems like desperation for Dogal is he's simply sending the fires through. So that's for fishing snipe attempts. That's not to completely win water.
Yeah, but they take some time. Low HP there. One demo is coming over, trying to aim for the greatest connects ever. But so far, well,
there's only
3 fishing ships.
Yeah, there's 3 fishing ships, and there's not a whole lot of fish out there unless Backed wants to redock. So I don't think this is all that good for Dogal. Really curious what his plan is going into Castle Age.
Demo finds 1 kill. That is kind of it.
But
still trying.
But he does have villagers on stone. He's adding a second town center. And he might even go 3. They do have stone walls, at least Brazil. It also seems like the same story for Miguel, who is going to add TCs. And no, I lied. He's adding stables. What? Huh. That's weird.
Feels weird to me.
2 stables when he has 7 on food right now. See how many knights he can make, Nilly, and if Vietnam will expect that.
Well, he's adding more farms. We'll be up to 11 farms pretty soon. 19 on wood feels way too much. 6 on gold, way too little. And, well, we need some siege. Otherwise, those knights won't achieve anything.
So maybe, but does it not make sense if the Mongol player is going to carry you? Maybe it makes sense for Miguel to go something like Siege Knight and try and distract both Vietnamese players as Dogal booms. It's not the worst line of thinking, but currently he's making knights against walls, so don't see what he's going to accomplish with that.
And I double-checked everywhere, and it doesn't look like there are any holes. At least he's not going for any upgrades on these knights. Maybe it's just to make sure that they won't die to any pushes here, but ACM and Back T, no interest in such.
You know what? Remember, Miguel and Dogal both lost their scouts. And if you look at Miguel, he just spotted those walls. So he didn't know that they were there. I think it'd be a wise move to assume the enemy walls in this position. But maybe it was just a risk. And they were thinking, if they didn't team wall, I can get in with knights. But the team walls are up. And Backed is actually adding camels. And I think he might be considering going for forward siege.
But shouldn't you just add a scout to find out?
Yeah, probably. I think that'd be the wise move. Well, look at the eco difference, Dogao might have 49. That's all villagers, but ACCM and Bact still doing a good job. Actually, this is for a redock, I think, so Bact can continue to fish. I think he really should be adding more. I would even say the same about ACCM. He could have added maybe 6 more fishing ships and redocked as well. But overall, pretty solid.
Both adding TC's villager count in total relatively even, we have to say. Advantage is like 7 workers in total, so
Yeah.
no biggies happened yet actually.
Yeah, look at that gold for Dogao. He's got that 4-tile gold in the front beneath the hill he'll need to secure. There's 2 golds forward for Bact, but they have the control right now. Kind of an awkward one for Bact because I guess he could have walled in front of that, but it was too far forward for it to be reasonable for him. So again, Nilly, we are asking the question, where does this go from here? Doesn't feel like it's going to be too good for Huns with Marimba camels and camel archers potentially coming out for Vietnam. I would feel a bit clueless right now if I was Brazil.
I think it has to be Halberdiers out of Miguel in front of Mass Mangudai and Siege Onagers. Sounds like a good combination to me, honestly.
Yeah, maybe Halbs if you're making military. Yeah, that makes sense. Halb Siege Ram, and then you have Dogao on Mangudai. And if it goes really late, Mongols get Siege Onager, Malians. Oh, I guess Malians also get Siege Onager. I always forget about that. Berbers do struggle against heavy siege, so.
And also against Halberdiers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see about that. Back T, I love that he's sending a village out, tries to get some outposts. He will have a lot of vision. And T90, could you explain that? Okay. Just deleted. He had a weird gate in no man's land there for a second.
Oh, yeah? Okay, gotcha. Now, I'm looking at his point of view now. I like the outpost as well. I also like the rewall from Dogao to protect that gold. That's such a small thing. But those 2 gates there do protect that gold a little bit more than otherwise would have been able to. He's not making military, so Bact could have even just walled in that gold with a villager.
Is that gate going to the woodline even? The diagonal one?
Which gate
I can't find it. The diagonal gate to protect that gold?
Actually, I think there's a tile gap there.
I think so as well.
Yeah, I think there is a tile gap there. You're right on that. 62 vills for Miguel. He's worse off when it comes to eco. He's been trying to defend, and he's done a good job using knights and monks to defend from the camels. He actually has 4 monks right now. 5 on the way, so he could make a little bit of a push, but it's not like he could actually threaten Vietnam, as we see a castle for ACCM to probably make camel archers. This is just after we see the castle for Dogao, who's already making Mangudai.
Something we have to mention, though, in the long run, the trade will be worse for Dogao and Miguel. Since they don't have the water control on the side, it will be significantly shorter.
Yeah. And that's because well, actually, that wood line, that one little line of wood is actually a problem as well. But you cannot build your markets up against the shoreline if the enemy can make navy there. But yeah, the wood lines in general make trade so awful on this map. I'm looking at both sides, and the trade is going to be running all around.
Yeah, luckily we get some extra gold, so you don't suffer too much. Aggressive siege workshop now here by Back T. That's a bit surprising to me.
Aggressive siege workshop for Bact. I'm sorry, where is this siege? Oh, there it is.
Right-hand side on that hill. That's where everyone has above 70, 80 villagers, so
yeah,
it felt really late.
Okay, this sounds nuts, and this is a very Dave thing to say. But like, what
Keep a stick on the ice.
No, but what if he's placing it there because it blocks off the potential for a castle? Like, that's a perfect castle spot. And after that siege workshop goes up, which is cheaper with Malians, a castle can't really be placed there.
Then you could go for a blacksmith, which is cheaper. You could just go for random stone walls as well. That block it off longer.
True, but well, I don't think he's going to use it right now. I don't hate it since he's floating wood. And big fight in the middle. The big fight really comes down to conversions, and this could be conversions on either side. Miguel doesn't have faith on a few of those monks, but both end up backing away.
Yeah. Feels like Miguel knows that won't be the prettiest fight for him. Back T is trying to chase, but really wants to fight with the monks as well. Camel Archer is now on the field for ACM. Solid upgrades.
Holy imp, Batman. He's about to be imp. He's at 90%. That's crazy. That's absolutely
Well,
ridiculous. And he sees that castle's going up for Miguel, so he's going to drop a castle on that hill and think about Trebs soon. There's a lot of pressure on Miguel right now. There's not much he can really make. I see him getting cav upgrades, Nilly, but maybe Halb would be the better play. I still don't think it'd be easy, but certainly Cavalier is not going to work all that well against camels and camel archers.
question is now back T. Do you want to overboom here and just sling your team partner ACM to go for camels and camel archers? Or do you think the advantage that you might gain with it over the next 2 minutes isn't important enough so that you just play imp yourself?
I think that he should go imp. If he was going to sling, I think he should have slung like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
That's my take on that. Because I think you already have ACCM in a good position. So the position doesn't get that much better when he's already going to have 3 castles under his own power with imp upgrades. I think the concern, though, is Dogao just ran out of the gates. And he picked off some villagers. So Back does really need to worry about this awkward choke pointy area when up against Mangadai.
Important that we get for Rimba here for Bakti. Otherwise, those are basically generic camels. He still has very reasonable numbers there. Overpopulation feels relatively reasonable. 35 lead, I would say, at the moment for Vietnam. But obviously, that's a lot of fire galleys on the outside as well.
What's really weird, though, is if Back was an imp right now, I think Vietnam in a fantastic position. Actually, I take it back. They still are in a fantastic position, but feels very much like there's potential for Dogao to kill Backed, as he's already an imp getting elite Mangadai. And that might lead ACCM to need to send help. It's almost like Vietnam should switch sides, actually. Have the camel archers on the right and have the camels on the left right now.
Well, they have all the map control for that, right? They have the center control, they have the mobility, so technically, absolutely an option.
Yeah. They're not that far away from each other if they're fighting on the front of the bases, but Miguel's getting Cavalier with plate barding. He can't take his stones on the front. He does have quite a few units that will receive those upgrades, but far from ideal for him right now.
I know I will get a lot of hate for what I will be saying, but I actually would have liked a sling onto Hunt going full siege ram and halberdier.
Okay, listen, I get that might be really good against, and this isn't hate, by the way, this is criticism. I understand that might be good against camel archers and camels in theory, but I think it's so easy to switch into something against that. And you have to have Mongols going for elite Mangadai and Rams and post him. Come on.
You get a lot of map control. Maybe you can kill 2-3 castles of the Berber player as well. And then later, once the Mongol player switches into normal play, his Mangadais become relatively stronger.
I mean, you're definitely right. Maybe if it was a different Civ, because Hun Halbs don't feel quite as strong. But, you know, I'll say this, guys. People asking what's better, Mangadai or Camel Archers. Well, Camel Archers are seen as a counter to Mangadai, but Mangadai are probably better in most other situations because of their firing speed, their bonus against siege, which we'll see here. So they really need to find an answer, to the Camel Archers, Brazil, and they're not able to find that right now. And now Heavy Camel will be in for back as he's already all over Miguel. This is rough.
Uh-oh, big problems there. Camel Archer certainly better 1v1 against Mangodai. If both of them are fighting at the melee units, though, then we probably think that Mangodai might have the slight edge.
Yep.
But honestly, Miguel will struggle to put the meat in front of them.
He's getting Paladin. So, I mean, they'll have to wait for that. Paladin can definitely make a difference. But this is so much pressure from Vietnam. Game 1, ACCM was off to a poor start, and now look at him in Game 2. He's played great as his back on their side, and this fight's looking so good for Vietnam.
Oh yeah, and killing all the Cavaliers before they become Paladins is so nice as well. Mong's really helping out in the backline, and now no more meat shields. I don't think that the Mangodais can actually take this fight.
No, it shouldn't be anyways. You'd think with any other unit you could kill it, but Mangodais have to back away, and you can't afford to retreat here. You fight or you die anyways. If you're Vietnam, or sorry, if you're Brazil, Paladin's in now. Is that going to be enough for Miguel and Dogao to push this back?
Farimba only now being queued up, and they are actually switching into knights? What? They're switching away from camels.
Cavalier. I don't love that, but a mix of camel and cav might be an okay decision. Camels, of course, with less pierce armor, so maybe that's the logic. Because Mangudai are killing them pretty quickly, but it might offer a bit more of a meat shield, I guess, right? If you have Cavalier.
What's happening here? 300 pop against 330 with lots of water that will be less efficient.
And here come
Where
Rams.
is the army of Baek-T?
Well, he was sending units in, and they kept going through that one gate and getting picked off. What is happening? Indeed, nearly 70-ish military for Team Vietnam, but they're losing ground.
Rams now moving forward. Okay, against camels and camel archers. Maybe traps might have been an option. Paladin numbers.
No way.
Don't excite me either, though.
Nilly, this is the difference we're seeing. Mongols get siege ram with drill. And that was an awful engagement for ACCM. Oh, my word. That castle is going to go down.
Siege ram kicking in. Drill is kicking in any second as well. They are preparing the trade behind this. We'll find the extra gold spots at the very top. Dogao playing out of his mind again.
What is happening? Like, we obviously saw how strong camel archers can be when Mangudai are out in the field. But now we're seeing how good Mongols can be in post-imp. Forget about your camel archers. If you have siege as well, I mean, I guess this is the answer to the question, Nilly. Who needs Halb siege ram when you have Mangudai paladin siege ram, right? Oh man.
Maybe, and I still wouldn't hate seeing like 10, 15 halberdiers being mixed in if Miguel ever gets to that eco.
Yeah.
118 villagers, would love to see him add maybe 10 more there. I think there's a spot though where Dogao needs to switch away from Rams into some traps.
Trebs. Yeah, it's like they've given Miguel a bit of time to breathe, but are they really ever going to break in the middle? Maybe just switch focus as well. Maybe just ram the other side. It's very cramped here, Scandinavia, and both teams are adding trade, so this could be a very long game, but currently Vietnam with so much more map control.
Honestly, this could also be a pretty short one. If just one bat could control of Miguel and there's no more meat shield, then suddenly all the camel archers can get the kill. Baek-T, he has a powerful army, and they have a punch now.
Yeah, it was almost like it looked like a potential throw there for Vietnam, right? Baek didn't have the army numbers. Now he does. He's got 60 camels. Problem is, a lot of those camels do die when they're getting close to the Mangudai, but still, you've got enough there to prevent that castle from ever going down.
Mistake, I think, under usage of the pawn there by Baek-T. Look at that. Some war galleys could have helped out annoying those markets for sure.
Yeah, I see ACCM's doing that. He just got the war galley upgrade, so I think he'll have some galleys along the shoreline soon. Also, you could delete a lot of your fires at this point for population space if you're Vietnam. You don't need to have 20 military on water. Big fight.
There's a fight in the center. Mangudais are trying to micro-back. Camel Archer's going for the kills.
Yeah, Camel Archer's missing a lot there. There's 3 or 4 volleys that they missed. But still, a lot of the Paladins were taken care of by the Camels. But I think Vietnam will have to back away to the hill yet again, Nilly.
Uh-oh, Paladin is a good unit, Tristan. Hallelujah.
Like, compare the Pierce Armor. 7 Pierce Armor for a Paladin. Compare the attack. You've got more attack for the Paladin. More HP for the Paladin. Yes, Farimba Camels are beastly, but you still have almost half the Pierce Armor and 40 less HP. And there are Trebs for Dogao now.
Camel Archer numbers are falling. Don't tell me Dogao and Miguel are pulling this one off. Scores incredibly close all of a sudden.
The queue is there for backs, but half of the queue is Light Cav. And if Camels aren't doing it, I don't think Light Cav's going to do it. And Brazil might end up taking this castle out. And if that castle goes out, the next could go down. This is ridiculous from Dogao. Ridiculous from Miguel. How are they pulling this off?
Oh, God. And yeah, castle going down, even with masonry there. No real repair. And Rams, they will take care of another castle.
I mean, ACCM didn't have Camel Archers queued. And backed maybe unable to afford full heavy camel, and it wasn't working anyways. We might have just seen the game shift into Brazil's favor. Well, we did see the game shift into Brazil's favor, but we might have just seen the game won right there because the Berber player cannot afford to lose all these castles. There's another one down. Trebs will take out the next.
Building a fourth one now.
I have so many questions about this. This feels so weird.
Oh, they had so many advantages, right? Back T, never active, trying to raid the right-hand side. Just put on 5 stables there. Lightcav are so much better in the economy of Dogao compared to trying to throw them at the center into the Mangudais.
Yeah, they still could transport some units around or, like you said, villagers and raid that eco. But when you were relying on camel archers, and now the player who's making the camel archers doesn't have the castle numbers, it's a big problem. I see so much trade in queue for ACCM, and there's a lot of trade working for both teams right now, but they need to get their numbers high enough. They're working on that.
Still some extra gold spots to be taken. Next castle is going to fall, and all of a sudden, well, ACM again down to 2 castles only. That's not enough. Now it's getting some stone sling, though.
Doesn't Mangudai Paladin just feel better? It might be how the players are taking the fights too, but it feels like it's still stronger than Camel Archer Camel.
Well, it is a classic for like 15 years now, maybe even longer, because the composition is so strong. Obviously, we didn't have Kamachis, we didn't have Rimba in the old days, but it seems like even those are not the counter. ACM and Backteed trying to fight with the hill, but it just feels like the numbers are on Brazil's side.
Now, I'm going to talk about a few things that I think Vietnam could do to change their position, and a great decision from Brazil to back up here and take the hill for this fight. They'll take that fight every day of the week, but I think they've got to focus on using their water control a bit more, Nilly. You know, we talk about shifting focus a lot. If you transport something there, even just 5 camel archers into the trade, that's focus that Brazil needs to take away from the middle. And Brazil's currently, they're having a field day in that middle area. So transitioning into another area of the map would be key for Vietnam to maybe take these hills again.
Oh man, now Miguel even mixing in some stuff, and yeah, absolutely true. They had the good boom, right? They should have had the advantage. Clearly, I'm not sure. Malians and Berbers. I think Berbers get cannon galleons. I don't know about Malians though, but that could just shorten the trade line, open so many more ratings. Yeah, I agree with you. Under usage of the lakes, rivers.
And their trade should be better, right? They should be getting, let's see, we're getting 58 gold a trip against 44 gold a trip. So even if they have this slightly worse tech, I felt like they had the position to take advantage of their map control. And maybe they tried to force the issue too frequently in that middle area. But here goes some light cav. They are walled out for the most part. But, oh, let's see. Miguel, well done. He'll add that gate. He'll add the stone walls. And he'll prevent the light cav from getting through.
Meanwhile, not the greatest engagement for him, though. Was a bit distracted with the quick walls there. Took a long fight against the camels. But again, Mangudais of Dogao behind this, also providing some damage. And oh, where are all those camel archers coming from?
I think they were in the middle area. Now there's 35 here. And maybe now Dogao needs to back away. But look at the KD for Dogao. 300 kills, 131 deaths. You can't tell me that Mangudai are worse than camel archers in a 2v2 scenario with that.
Yeah, and that's what we said, right? In 1v1, clearly the counter. In team games, the damage output is so much better in the second row.
At firing speed. For those who are relatively new to the game, believe it or not, Mangudai used to fire faster. And a lot of people complained when that happened. Like, now Mangudai suck. And they definitely do not suck based on that change. H-Stamp says I miss those days. Yeah, it was like...
Small landing, left-hand side. And Transporter's getting killed. Only 2 Paladins in there, though. ACM very aware left-hand side.
Oh, but he was only over there because he wanted to hop into his own transport ship, Nilly. So,
yeah, like that.
There he goes, and Miguel would have needed to dock in order to transport, so he has a few docks going up, bit of water control. I think Vietnam have definitely stabilized a bit here.
Well, yeah, like everyone close to pop limit, right? So this game could still continue quite a bit. We would still love to see more water usage. ACM, maybe too much pop block there. And oh god, look at Dogao now building castle at the side, protecting their trade. I like that.
Yeah, I like the castle, but I also like the push uphill right now. They might be able to take out another castle. 2 trebs behind the Rams. Insane Mangudai micro. Miguel here to help. I think they're happy to toss away numbers here if they can take out another castle from the Berbers.
Will be close though. 2 rams. Oh, but now 4 traps. Okay, I think they will get that one.
And the camels do nothing, man. Bact has 140 kills, 360 deaths. This isn't because he's making the wrong units necessarily. It's just because that's all he can do, and it's not enough.
And that also answers the question that we get so often in chat, right? If it's knight and crossbow in castle, people always go like, why aren't they adding camels?
Yeah, yep. So, Neely, interesting point. When Miguel lost his transport, he must have spotted that transport coming over from ACCM because he added stables and some walls in the trade area and prepped paladins. So the camel archers are in the trade now, but Miguel says, no, no, no. This is our trade, not yours, and he'll take care of that.
Great awareness for sure. HCM update on his castle count, down to 3 again and heavily housed.
Yeah, I also noticed how good Miguel has been with some presence on the left side. Has the docks, won't worry about that now, is now adding siege ram. Okay, so which team is winning right now? If there's a team winning. And how do they finish off the game, Neely? This is a lot of trebuchets going down for Dogal. No!
Okay, let's take a look. Trade count will be better. I think technically position is relatively even, but it just feels like Dogal and Miguel played so much better.
Yeah.
And it feels like the Mangodai are really carrying. So I would say if you switch the players, it's basically 50-50. Here, I have to give the edge to Brazil.
Yeah, I noticed ACCM, just a bunch of small things. I'm not sure the reasoning for it, but he's had a lot to do, but he's only at 180 pop space. So he might hear the pop cap noise and not realize he's not fully popped. Also, I saw these speedy rams from Dogal. They just sped through the base of Vietnam to try and take out a castle, which was really funny.
Oh, man.
But that's distracting, right? Those are things you have to worry about, and it could be Paladins and Mangodai coming in next if you're not careful.
T adding siege workshops now. Doesn't really have the greatest resources to go into SO. I think SO could actually help, could make it so much tougher for Dogal to dictate fights.
Yeah, if you have like 5 to 6 siege onagers on each hill protected, then it does make it tough. Even Paladins can die to siege onager. I'm wondering if we'll ever see that from Dogal. I'd say his siege onagers are better because of the speed. Camel archers for ACCM behind the markets. That's something Miguel will need to deal with. And if the game goes on long enough, there's a lot of wood right now, but where players are chopping wood will also be something to talk about.
Yeah, luckily Scandinavia woodlines are massive, so unlikely that that will be the limiting factor, at least in the upcoming hour. Well, we just broke the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, just broke the 1 hour mark. I see fortified wall for Dogal. A very choke pointy map. And lots of trade. I do like how the players are chopping through some of those wood lines that are in the middle of the trade. That will help that trade be more efficient. I'm waiting for Brazil to do what they were doing before and mix in some trebs. They can get the trebs out and continue with big fights with 4 trebs behind. They can take those castles, push the positions they need to.
Wow. Felt like you mentioned like 3-4 minutes ago that ACM is still stuck at pop 180. And
He still is, yeah.
It still is.
I think there's got to be some stress here then, right? You're very tunnel visioned, I guess, on the fights and the production.
Okay, now he added houses.
Okay, now he's adding houses. All right, that's understandable then. It's almost like Brazil are waiting to choose a side to push, and Vietnam is waiting on either side of the hill, unsure on which decision they'll make. And here come Rams and Mangodai, just against Camel Archers. They'll bust through those gates. And yeah, look at ACCM. He's pulling the Camel Archers back now, and he's not able to fight with his teammate.
Well, he did send some in the center. Camels might close that one down.
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay, the camels are here, but now the
castle.
camels are going to get trapped in for Bact. Oh, that's going to be a lot of camel losses. And also a castle will go down for ACCM in the middle.
Uh-oh, that is problems again. Trap simply so good. And, well, Brazil getting that crucial center hill is so good for them. They can just toy with Vietnam here.
It feels like Malians are just garbage here, too. Another thing I think Bact needs to have production in more than one area. You think back to how Land played for Spain yesterday in that crazy game 1? He had stables on either side, and there's only 4 stables for back tier, and only 1's producing. So I don't know if that's a shortage of resources, but swinging back and forth over these wood lines has really hurt Vietnam over the last 5 minutes, and I fear it's only going to get worse for them.
He may be overproducing villagers. No, he is not. Has reasonable numbers. And yeah, still floating 5k food. While we see Siege Onager now finally coming in for Dogao.
Oh, man. And forward Siege Workshops. He only has 5 on food. The rest is on wood and gold. So I think he did receive some of that food from Miguel. That's smart thinking. Of course, he won't need the food long term. He only spend wood and gold for the Siege Onagers too. And we could see some massive shots here. That's an interesting choke point. Siege Onagers very close, Nilly. And if PCs were ever going to break, this would be the moment. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Biggest fight of the World Cup, possibly.
Oh, and tactical pause here. Oh, my game is freezing.
I think that the PCs are freezing, so they actually paused it. You can see the lag there. Well, what's funny is there's not a lot they can really do. I suppose that's not funny, but if someone's PC is going to lag in post-imp, we're in post-imp. It's not going to change unless a lot of units go down.
Yeah, and it's also like the PC has to process all the units on that tight area, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. Yeah, listen, I'm no dev, right? I'm not gonna pretend that it's easy to make a game that doesn't lag at this stage, and I'm not gonna pretend to understand all the reasons why it happens and why it doesn't other times. But I'll tell you this much: that is a choke point that Vietnam need to defend, and they can be nowhere near.
SO, Siege
choke.
Engineer, Chemistry, Drill. They're even opening that choke further. Interesting choice.
Yeah, I actually don't like that move. But maybe they just want to finish off the game right here. Are you ready for some big shots, ladies and gents? The Camels have already proved to be very poor. And I think they'll continue to be poor in this situation. My goodness, that's a lot from Brazil.
Uh-oh. This could be the money shot coming in. Not a lot of Camels trying to focus this one down. There's just so much protection for the Siege behind this.
Yeah, and there's Trebs, too. I mean, Dogao again bringing in some Trebs. Not just the Rams, not just the Siege Onagers. The Camels all melt. That's as good a fight as you could ever take in that situation. That Bombard Cannon gets taken out. And the Camel Archers! Rip!
Oh, no, and they're bugging out. Oh, God.
And the rest will die. GG. The castles are down. The population's down for ACCM. Backed could never really contribute anything in post-Imperial. And those were the biggest Siege Onager shots we've seen so far in the World Cup. Crazy post-imp scenes here, Nilly, but we've been talking about it for 15 minutes. You can't kill Dogao with Mongols in post-imp. It's just too good.
Oh, God. And now we got to the ideal army composition. That's just full Mongol power. Look at the amount of SO that he mastered up.
I know, it's ridiculous. And it's also, it's not just the units, but it's how you control the units as well. He's made it look very easy, constantly firing when he needs to. And Miguel here every step of the way with some paladins. The trade is right here, so Brazil, who I think will take their time in this situation, could always not do so and run right into the trade, but they're slowly creeping in. And if I'm Vietnam, I resign before I lose more Camel Archers. You know, like, why are you still playing at this point? You're just going to embarrass yourself further.
He's even right-clicking the castle with all the SO. He's killing a castle with Siege Onagers, Tristan.
Well, the Trebs are there too, but say goodbye to that castle. Oh, here come the Light Cav and Camels. There's Onager for backed on the far side of that wood line trying to contribute.
Nice.
Mongols, crazy in post-imp. One of the best Scandinavian civs. We are seeing that right here. Almost 700 kills for Dogao, and he's not even at 300 deaths.
Oh, God. Such great control. And, well, he's just happy. He goes in deep, and ACM back to, they thought they had the counter to Mongols. They thought they had the Camel Archers, but it is a team game. Paladin numbers were enough here for Miguel. Impeccable game.
So, Nilly, Malians able to best Mongols on water. Berbers able to best Huns on water. And then in Castle Age, it was camels and camel archers against knights for Miguel. It was almost like the time window that Vietnam needed to take advantage of. They never jumped through that window. They just sat back. Like in post-imperial, it was going to be better for them, but it became far, far worse.
I don't like how few fishing ships were added and how late they were added as well. If you think about someone like Tado, he has 35 fish traps there in back T spot.
Yep. I think that, but also they just weren't able to force the issue. There were forward resources. Miguel's base wasn't fully walled, and I think they were content, and maybe too content, with placing castles and adding trade instead of trying to do a bit of that, but also pushing into the Brazilians' economy. It also, do you remember when he teched into Cavalier? I feel like Backed felt at that point that the camels were dying too quickly. Maybe you continue with Cavalier instead of Camel then, but very hard to say. That was a great comeback from Brazil, though. It didn't look likely that they were going to win that game once Miguel's walls were down.
I think they didn't make it messy enough as well. They had the full control in the center, full control on the outside. It felt like 75-25% map control at one point. You have to have stables everywhere. Make it painful, because Mango Dye, they don't work in 5v5 fights. They work in 40v40 fights.
Good point. Yeah, we talked about that too. I think the best teams, they get into a winning position, they take advantage of it, Nilly, and Vietnam will regret not doing that there. That KD, though, you will rarely see something like this. 708 kills, 277 units lost. And you look at the amount of resources collected. It was actually pretty close across the board, but Tokyo did have the most gold. But Miguel was right behind him. Backed and ACCM did have less. Came down to them not pushing an early imp around 36, 40 minutes.
Surprising how close the food count is for Togao and Miguel there. 35k to 40k. One player builds full food gold army.
Yeah.
The other one isn't using food for his units at all.
I don't know. Maybe he had a crazy farming eco and then he switched off of that. But that is surprising. Backed with 56,000 food. I actually feel bad for Backed. I know that Vietnam could have done more, but his army felt absolutely useless past a certain stage.
And if this game wasn't chaotic enough for you, up next is Chaos Pit.
So Chaos Pit is the map that Vietnam have to go to. I'll say this, I doubt it's going to go post-imp, all right? So whatever civs we see, I don't think we have to speculate over post-imp strengths because very rarely does the game get there. But in a close series against a team of Brazil's caliber, you never want to be down 2 games. It's going to be such a task for Vietnam to ever come back now.
Not only you have to win your home map, but also 2 home maps of your opponent.
Yeah.
And they still have Vikings picked for that. They have Indians, Britons for Ghost Lake. An ugly uphill battle ahead of them.
Yeah, I think also to make matters a little bit worse, as I said before today, Chaos Pit is also picked pretty frequently by Brazil in the past. So it's not like they're going to be unprepared for this. I think you're laughing because you see the civs, Nilly. I won't see them for a second, but tell me what you're thinking.
No. It was more like to make matters even worse. Like, I already pictured a horrible scenario.
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
You keep on beating on them.
Yeah, I mean, again, Brazil picked Chaos Pit pretty frequently for their home map. So, yeah, we made matters worse.
Okay, Robo jumped into the game. Maybe telling them something like, okay, how do we handle those PC issues? Obviously, we had a lot of discussion after the massive lags on one Valley game. I don't even remember which one that was.
Actually, I'll let you continue your point, but I'd like to salute everyone who actually donated to Wasepi after that. I chipped in as well, but I think in total, Wasepi ended up receiving like $400 after that. So people saw that game, and Wasepi was so chill about it, and Wasepi was like, "I have a wood PC." And Wasepi messaged me. He's like, I can't thank everyone else, but I want to thank you for helping us out. So maybe he won't have as many issues in the future.
Sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet stuff. Did you discuss that internally with the admins and organizers, how you handle those situations in the future?
You mean post-imp issues?
Well, not if like someone is heavily responsible for the lag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
If Like, let's say in that game it was Chile against Netherlands. Netherlands felt like, well, they ended up winning, thankfully, but let's say the Netherlands lose and they felt like they would have won if it wasn't for that lag. Depending on the team, there might be some drama there. Thankfully, those teams are not the dramatic type, and that there wasn't a lot of controversy. But now we didn't really discuss it past that point because it was the one time that had happened, and hopefully that won't happen again.
Hopefully, yeah.
We had a lot of funny memes in that game. Like, also Angelina Jolie had to pause because his girlfriend was in a rough part of town, and she wanted to talk to him while she was getting out of the rough part of town. So that happened, and the potato PC happened in that game.
Tristan, change of speed. I think either they forgot or they intentionally didn't do spec delay. I'm already 1 minute into game number 3.
Oh, God. Okay, well then, yeah, I saw the game. I figured there'd be a delay. They probably forgot to add a delay then. And welcome to Chaos Pit. I see our scoreboard's not prepped on my end because we weren't expecting to be in the game. But, Nilly, thoughts on the civilizations?
Well, Lithuanians, as we mentioned earlier, pretty damn good. 150 extra food, therefore basically 2 scouts instantly out. Aztec, one of the 3 civilizations that can actually man-at-arm rush here. You have the extra gold, can afford 3 man-at-arms. There's no gold in the center.
Yeah, so Lithuanians probably wanting to go for the scouts, and then Dogal maybe that man-at-arms rush, or just a drush. No gold in the middle. You want to chop to the outer ring. Again, apologies. I think Overlay Guy was not expecting the game to start. But score... Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Scores 2-0 here. What do you think about Vietnam, though? You've got Teutons, a civ that has TC dropped in the past.
I'm already thinking something about Dogao and all his laming that he is doing.
He just sent a villager forward and said, thank you. I'm going to take your deer, and I'm going to wall in your berries.
Oh, God. And now you build a mill kind of in no man's land. And do you chase it through the villager? Already lots of people going for Loom in a 3-minute game.
Yeah, what's funny is Goths were banned. And I think you would have seen this from Goths as well. So Brazil, they're not wasting any time trying to get a lead here.
Quick question. Do you restart this year if you're ACCM?
I guess technically you could, right? We brought up restart yesterday, and, you know, it's on me to make these rules, right? But it's restart per series, so technically you can call restart before 4 minutes.
Oh, no.
And no restart. Yeah, I mean, if we do this again, right? I think with restarts, we're going to have to be a bit more specific on when you can use them, because so much can happen strategically at the start of Chaos Pit. It wouldn't make sense for it to happen here, but no restart. And what do you think about ACCM not even addressing the villager at this point? He hasn't sent anything beyond that one scout earlier.
It is weird. I think you should have sent another one for sure. Now some problems. Luckily, team play is good on their side. Back T will deal with that eagle. You could make an argument for Japanese suffering the least against that.
Yeah.
Because adding an extra mill only costs them 50 wood.
Well, there are also 2 areas to get berries. So Dogal's had this villager walking around all game, but that is some idle time for him. That combined with the fact he can't push in his own deer because he just lost the eagle could be pretty bad. So I suppose there's positives to this for Vietnam. Dogao also housed. So Dogao's actually had a really rough start here, Nilly.
Okay.
But it bothers me that ACCM isn't addressing the Vil. It's not fun to do. It's never pretty. But you're allowing him to wall in hundreds of food when you could just send your own villagers.
Yeah, he did scout his second barrier, so...
So, doesn't make any sense to me. Like...
Will he rush then? Because his food income will be horrible. He kind of has to play a tower rush now.
Maybe he will tower rush. I don't know. But why not? Why not both? You know, why not have your food and then also tower rush? Very, very confused by this. And I think that this might have something to do with lack of confidence. It does take a lot of will to will yourself back after losing 2 games in a best of 5. Even Miguel's sending a Vil over here. He'll take care of that and say, thank you, I'm going to leave now.
Killed 3 deer. And honestly, it sounds weird and a strategy that we have rarely seen. We discussed it just a month ago, Tristan. This is the spot for a Teuton farm sling. Distance is short.
Yeah.
ACM has no food income. So what you do, guys, is you send a villager over to your teammate, build farms around his TC, and he can take those farms, but you only paid the Teuton price.
Yeah, I actually tested that in a competitive scenario recently, and there will be a video on that. It's even on open maps, it's very strong, nearly, but maybe back not thinking about that. ACCM. Oh, ACCM, is he just going to take the berries from Backed? That might be the plan. Okay. All right. Feudal Age on the way for Backed and ACCM. They are much faster than Dogao will be, but Miguel's already arriving in Feudal Age.
What's the strategy of ACM going to be here? Is he just going some spearmen?
Spearman, I think. Yeah.
Still no barracks. Okay, now he's dropping it.
Yeah, Spearman is similar to what we saw from Canada yesterday, I suppose. Using Japanese trash and then chop to the outer ring and take it from there. And then for Backed, I think he wants to go scouts, but he's much later than he would have wanted to be. A 21 pop it's okay for Arabia, but when you're so close, I think you want the fast up times. Miguel already has 2 scouts and the third one on the way.
Oh, militia kissing the TC of back T. 1 militia already down. Oh no. Oh no, that's horrible. You're picking Aztec because you can go for men-at-arms, and he already lost close to 2.
Yeah, or men-at-arms or 5 militia. And he's going to have 3 now with 1 being very weak. Here comes ACCM. This might be towers, like you said. Towers and spearmen. And if Dogao is only in Dark Age, they might shift all of their focus over to Miguel. Let's see how this goes. Good work for Vietnam here. This is good micro.
Miguel out of position. Is he going for the villagers on the stone? Yes, he is. He's attacking first.
In position to take out the stone miners. And one of those miners were weak, too. That could be 3 vills down. I don't think there's a lot ACCM can do against good scout micro to save these. And Miguel playing this perfectly.
Ooh, lovely. 2 down, and the TC wasn't shooting the scouts, but actually the palisade walls.
Oh, God. Now, at the same time, it will be really awkward for Miguel to address this at the front of his base because there's 2 spearmen. Is he pulling vills? Oh, he's going to fight with vills. What on earth is this,
sense.
Miguel?
He has enough damage output. The militia are more efficient if there are other units around. The scout had a sieger.
The scout got trapped. I've never seen anything like that before. And yeah, if you have the villagers there, you can maybe neutralize the spearmen. It's extremely awkward, or one might say chaotic. And I guess Brazil will be happy that there's no towers up in Miguel's base and that the villagers are running on home for ACCM. I can't get over that.
19 villagers for ACM at the moment. 3 still under threat, and Dogao, he will have a really solid transition once he gets to Castle Age. Didn't do the best job of focusing getting to the outside, though.
Okay, so I know that sometimes Nikov quotes can be a little bit more on the extreme side, because he's, you know, like some players are very extreme in their opinions and some players are more relaxed. But quote from Nikov after USA played Argentina on this map is Aztecs feel useless after Dark Age. And I'm looking at it, and I kind of disagree. I don't think it's going to be smooth for Dogao at all.
Tower 12 HP. Ooh, okay, cancelled.
He can't take gold, right? And now you have Backed making scouts. You have ACCM making spearmen. I mean, if they can get the towers up, I feel like this is actually a good position for Vietnam to be in. But it's how much damage can they do against Dogao before he gets to gold? At the same time, Neely, I say all that, and we have 2 people fighting against 1, and still Miguel's been able to hold really, really well.
Yeah, Spearman, obviously with Lithuanians faster, so he can micro them easier, can chase down some villagers. And look at that, already 9 kills and 7 losses. And we, well, didn't really have any hard-hitting units out on the field yet.
Yeah, I was hoping for a bit more from Backed, if I'm being honest with you. Thought that he could contribute with more scouts. Like right now, what's stopping him from using those 2 scouts and going through those palisades? Now it's too late. But he didn't have to be here this entire time. Miguel defending with only spearmen will add a counter tower, and it used to be 5 villagers forward. Now it's 3, and I don't think the villagers can even stick around here.
Yeah, defensive tower doesn't even need to be finished by Miguel. Continues to take this fight, and it just felt like the early scouts of Miguel were at a so much better time than Bactese.
Yeah, and also now, like, there's still so much time. Backed has had 3 or 4 minutes to try and break through with the scouts. But he was not able to do so as Brazil have a full team wall on Chaos Pit. Who would have thought?
And now blacksmith being dropped, market being dropped as well. Still not on the outside, still not getting gold. Okay, now finally he is through, and I think this could just be selling 200 stone and then adding 3 barracks full eagle plate.
Yeah, if you can find the gold, right? You need a bit of luck. You don't have any guarantee that there will be gold out here. A lot of teams also palisade wall or even stone wall, so the enemy can't run through with scouts. That's something Backed is now thinking about. Remember, this is a home map for Vietnam. I think ACCM has had a really rough day today, and in particular, game 1 and now this game, because I haven't loved the strategy here as he finally gets a tower up that seems somewhat decent on Dogao.
Again, pick number 4 was Inkas here, and instantly sniped because Inkas so good. The tower rush so good with them. ACM tried to make something happen similar here, but with it just simply not that strong. Dogao, 20% on the way to Castle Age. He's still not on gold. What?
He still hasn't found gold. He didn't build an outpost. He's actually mining stone to sell it right now.
Jago Warriors.
That would be a sight. But no, okay, he's found that gold. He just hasn't sent bills to it yet.
Versus Miguel's villagers.
Hey, 4 scouts here. I'm still loving Back's position. I know he could have done more damage, but he's going to have the eco to go up to Castle Age soon. And I think Teuton Knights, or Teutons in general, are just perfect counter to Aztecs. Oh, Miguel is in big trouble here.
Well, Scout still reasonable HP for sure. I think Spearmen need to come over. Yeah, 4 Spearmen. They will deal with that.
Okay, so what was it? 2 villagers down. I thought Bax could maybe do more there, but he'll move around. And he's on the way to Castle Age. What about Miguel? Miguel's not anywhere close to clicking up. And obviously that's the same for ACCM. Fascinating.
Well, both of them pulling massive amount of villagers, right? And towers, villagers being active, mass spearmen. So it is tricky to click up. And yeah, the big story will be Dogao versus Bekti, both in Castle Age.
Still not mining gold. Is he actually going to drop a castle? Okay, there's a town center. Also, sneak villager from Dogao. I don't know where this vill's going, but it's on the way. At the same time, you have ACCM doing a similar thing, but I think ACCM wants to wall that area. That's just a wall villager as well. Interesting. Okay.
I'm a bit confused what Dogao is playing here.
I think he's going to full boom. Yeah, I think he's going to stonewall the sides and full boom. And you even have Miguel stonewalling now. He wants to get a big eco lead.
But also only the outside, right? You're really vulnerable in the center. There's so much area to cover. The moment your opponent gets a siege workshop up, you cannot defend everywhere.
Yeah, Miguel kind of having a rough time economically because his farmers have to be pulled. The ACCM, he didn't have great farm eco, but that was part of the plan. It was not part of the plan for Miguel. I think Bax should boom as well, but Bax could go 2 stable knights, Nilly, and he's got the stables in the mid. Nice position for him to either push Miguel and kill him, or even push Dogao while Dogao booms on the outer ring.
Bekti found more villagers on the outside. Oh god, Miguel, so many losses there. 35 villagers only for him, and still feudal age.
I say nice there because I want this series to go further than just 3 games, right? Another villager goes down for Miguel. He still hasn't been able to wall it up, and actually there's a sneaky villager for Backed, which might be able to stay hidden back here.
Oh, don't build a house. Don't build a house, Bekti.
No! Don't build a house. We'll see if that matters, Nilly, but normally you'd want to send it to the corner and hope he survives. Great play from Backed, though. Look at the scout micro. Backed, 16 kills, 7 deaths. Could kill more, and this is all before the knights contribute.
Okay, where are the knights coming, though? In the center of the map. Oh, that house only 80 HP, and you can see ACM is realizing they will get in.
I mean, I don't understand. I suppose you don't want to go for monks against Teutons, but Dogao's just free booming. He doesn't have any monks, any eagles, any pikemen to defend from this. This is the exact position that ACCM and Backed would have wanted to find themselves in.
Yeah, free booming and only having 1 more villager than Bekti, though.
It's a good point, but Backed is harassing Miguel quite a bit. And Miguel's lost so much on the wood line. Oh my goodness. Miguel, 28 vills.
While he's completely getting killed around his TC as well. More towers coming up there. This won't be a pretty game for Miguel.
No, this honestly, if Bact is able to have a boom behind this, the lead that Vietnam will have in a few minutes will be really hard for Brazil to come back from. Because if you had another Civ up against Teutons, I'd think differently. I still am not sure what Aztecs really do against Teutons long term.
Probably Pikeman, Eagle. The moment we get 2-1 Teutonic Knight, Dokkan won't be doing anything unless he's going for Jaguar Warriors in the long run. But Vietnam only needs to care about long-term composition against Aztecs.
A sneaky villager update. That villager died to a spearman. So he was trying to place a stable there. That could have been better, but credit to Bact, who's done well. Is actually only on 1 TC right now, Nilly, so he could have been faster to the town centers. But at the same time, he's been microing 3 or 4 different armies, has good upgrades, and his team's overall very safe.
And he also sold his stone, so that was late. ACM, that is some form of a misplay here. It has some random 5 villagers at the left-hand side of the map.
Random villagers on the left side of the map.
In the center.
I think Bact told him his stone was over here, and he's looking for it. And then he said, oh, wait, where's your stone again?
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to mine that stone. And he will see it now.
But, well, he's on the outside and has lumber camps next to his stone.
Yeah, I don't know. Those villagers, they don't like to change jobs, Nilly. All right? They're,
okay.
They're boomers. Same job for 40 years, then retire. All right?
Okay.
I mean, Miguel's probably hearing from Dogal that Dogal's boom is going quite nice. And while I've said multiple times to you already, I think Aztecs can do nothing. That is a significant Veal lead, but Miguel could just straight up die. So Dogal needs to contribute with some pikemen soon. Otherwise, this just gets worse for Miguel.
Obviously, Bac-T and ACM not really walled, right?
Yeah.
A massive pikeman push could be really strong, but we need to have siege with that, which I don't see at the moment.
Well, it's a chaotic game. Miguel's not having a great time. But sometimes, if you're playing in Miguel's role, it's almost one of the most important roles, because the more of a presence you're able to have, and the more you're able to keep alive, the more time your teammate will have. So I can't say that Miguel's done a great job at staying alive, but then again, he's been up against knights while he's in feudal age, so he's done as good as he could possibly do.
That's true. Rewalling with stone there. It wasn't easy, right? And it felt like he didn't underreact, right? He did send 4 spearmen against 4 scouts. Reasonable on other days, but Bac-T, extra melee armor, had bloodlines, had the attack upgrades. And,
boy.
Empty out micro the spearmen. Now, Ram's knocking at the door.
Yeah, this is a problem. Like, Miguel he's going to receive help in the middle from Dogal's pikemen, but the pikemen cannot save this outer ring area. So as he's repairing and making stone walls, Rams are going to come in with more knights. And actually, Miguel has not reacted to this yet. He's being attacked in too many different areas. I don't think he's noticed.
Uh-oh. This could be problematic. And those knights in without any quick wall against the wood line. He is only focusing on his main TC at the moment.
Yeah. Too many areas to defend from right now. Miguel at 31 villagers. I'm fairly certain he was at 31 villagers 10 minutes ago. Oh, man.
Not impossible, and he might drop quite heavily. Do you think that ACM should actually go for Samurai?
I would love that move, but I also love booming and getting tower upgrades, because the way the towers are positioned, the towers will really help against the pikemen. Dogal wants to freely patrol his pikemen in towards Miguel's TC. He can't do that with these towers. So late game, you go Samurai, but for now, I think towers and booming is fine.
Okay. Well, the best tower upgrade comes out of a castle, so maybe he can do both at the same time. Pikemen are trying to hold, but yeah, those towers, they just make it so much tougher for Dogal to help over at Miguel's side as well.
And now you have Bact going for 3 town centers. He's on 2, will be on 3. Much later than Dogal. And Dogal might even click up to Imp soon, which would be wild. But still, it does seem like it's going to be rather difficult for Brazil to do anything against Bact over the next couple minutes. I
really enjoyed the 3 Rams at the top of the map.
Yeah, like Like, I feel like he patrolled there, expecting there to be a town center, but there's nothing over there. I guess the spearman will get taken care of. Where does Miguel run to survive, man? Like, this is wild.
Well, at the moment, he doesn't have enough to even run. Right?
Yeah.
He's just building some spearmen, tries to keep his villager numbers up, and, well, at the moment, it's full. Well, annoying and praying that the opponent's overinvest to buy some time for Dogao, but Dogao is getting pressured so heavily as well.
You're wondering why Dogao did not go up to Imperial when the resources were close. It's because he's investing into Castle Age. If you click up to Imp, it's 1,000 food, 800 gold you don't have. And he really needs something now. But the towers from ACCM coming in clutch, and now they're guard towers.
With Botkin already.
Yeah.
Lovely moves.
This is exactly what Vietnam would have wanted. Game 1, not ideal. Game 2, certainly not ideal in post-imp. But backed, maybe a boost to his confidence here. Big boom. And here he comes with Knights. This is the first time he'll be raiding Dogao's eco. Never mind. Dogao noticed it. Backed did not. But it's a sign that maybe Backed will shift focus a little.
Yeah, and interesting. Not a single villager died there. Could have been so many more. Dogao with S6. We kind of are praying for Elite Eagle Warriors, right? But he's sitting on 200 food. Still goes for more pikemen. Transition will come in late.
Yeah, what I don't like about Backed is the lack of auto farm. I know it sounds crazy, but he's got 16 farms. He's had wood, but I feel like auto farm or just more farm focus in general would be good for him. He needs more on food. Dogao, he's got a lot of pikemen out here now, and he's starting to ram down these towers. There's a real risk that if Back doesn't have the eco to back this up, that he has to stop making knights soon, and that could be trouble.
Obviously, no murder holds here, but towers are overlapping, so shouldn't be the biggest problem ever. Knight help not there. Do you think maybe longswords might be an option for Back-T?
Well, he doesn't have the eco for it, but look at the rams. I thought the rams were coming back. I didn't realize that they're still patrolling over there.
Wait, hyper-aggressive castle by Back-T that we completely missed next to the starting TC of Dogao.
Oh, well, then he makes 2 Teutonic Knights, and he's completely fine.
What? If it wasn't for Dogao placing his castle himself.
Yeah.
And now buying himself up to him? What?
All right.
He just cancelled everything.
Now go up to Imp to treb that down. Meanwhile, you have ACCM dropping a castle. How good are Castle Age Samurai and Teutonic Knights against Pikeman Monk?
Depends on how many monks and how well micro.
It's awkward, right?
Yeah, should be way better. But let's see if they... It's also funny how they crossed, right? Back-T builds the castle in Dogao's face, and ACM builds the castle in Miguel's face.
Yeah. A lot of these towers have gone down. 89 villagers for Back. He's at 23 on food now, which feels better. And we have a Teutonic Knight! Let's go! Nice! That's beautiful.
Technically, though, skipping these might have been the better option, trying to get to him faster.
Yeah, but what gives you more confidence? Killing enemy villagers or making Teutonic Knights?
Winning the game or making Teutonic Knights?
But if you win the game with Teutonic Knights, then you feel you have the potential to come back. Also,
I see your point.
Rams
Great choice of
holding...
Teutonic Knights here.
Neely's like, okay, I'll fall in line. The 3 Rams here somehow got through the gate, have taken out the gate, and now Backed is going to raid Dogao a little bit, who really is going to be focused in the middle area. He should be able to treb that castle down. Why is Backed farming in the middle? Why must you do that? You have all that safe area in the back of your base. Why farm next to a castle that could get trebbed down? Very weird.
Well, he doesn't know that Dogao is up to him, and for now it is well protected behind the castle. Also, he had the villagers around that
Yeah,
angle.
he had the vills there.
Again, another good quick wall by Miguel.
It's a good quick wall, but he just lost some of his friends here to the conversions, and now a tower will go up. Miguel is at 29 villagers. He's forever 30 pop.
Oh, and overchop, another Knighten.
Oh, and he doesn't have a monk. Oh, God, Miguel. Poor
He
Miguel.
has quite some armor. He has quite some armor. Look at how those villagers are fighting against one single knight.
Oh, jeez. You ever hear the tale of... Oh, actually, if he micros that knight over to the tower, it'd be very good backed, but... I don't know if it's really
he can
needed.
just win the 1v8 fight.
Like, there's another knight here. Is Miguel about to get defeated? Does he have population anywhere else?
He has one red dot, a house there. No, I think that's all it. Some spearmen.
We could actually see Miguel get defeated here. These are all 17 of his villagers. And
to
quick
speed?
wall! No! Okay, that's worth it. He lays down his life for his friends.
Yeah, can't get defeated since he still has the market and the barracks, but yeah, technically it's close.
Yeah, feels like the knights could break through soon, but the TC should probably go up. But we really need to focus on what Dogao can do. What a comeback this would be for Brazil if Dogao could somehow carry this. He is going to go for Elite Eagle Nilly. And if he could sneak some eagles through these walls, like Siege Tower or something, he could raid so much eco for Vietnam back there. Teutonic Knights, look at this. Absolutely wrecking the pikemen. Easy. All right, Nilly. Thoughts? How do Brazil win this? Can they win this? Okay. I think I can't hear you. I heard silence. I wasn't sure if you were talking. If you can hear me. I cannot hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
The weird bug, but what did you say over the last 10 seconds?
Jaguar Warriors could be nice against the Teutonic Knights. And I don't really see a chance for Brazil because Bacti is on the way to Imp as well. And his Cavaliers will be good enough.
Miguel.
Market lost.
Market
Top
lost.
6.
Barracks lost. Villagers running away. These are
Top
his...
5.
He could get defeated.
Oh, good for him is that Knights have such a poor line of sight, though. I think the 3 at the top might make it home.
It'd be really funny if Dogao locks the gate. You know, he's like, we know we're going to lose. He just locks the gate and doesn't allow Miguel to survive.
Let your teammate die.
Oh, man, if only there was a tournament like that or something.
So Eagles are now coming over to the other side. And
which other side? I don't even know what you mean by other side. Hold on a second.
Against Bacti.
Okay. Against Bacti where, Nilly? Which area? In the middle? Okay, yeah, other side. Bacti's starting eco, and nice little gates there from Dogao, and here comes some samurai from ACCM. 5 villagers for Miguel. All he's going to do is mine that gold, and this is extremely hectic. But if Dogao is going to be able to do anything, he's going to have to find a counter to Teutonic Knights and Cavalier.
Which is a boyar?
Boyar? You mean like a Latus?
Something like those units. Like, yeah, I'm trying to find Genoese crossbowman could be good.
I
I'm
mean,
just
like
trying to find good units that actually could be an option. I don't think Aztec has any option.
Aztecs can't, yeah, especially if Teutons go Paladin with that melee armor. Yes, you get +8 attack on the pikeman, but the pikeman still gets shredded. So Teutons feel very strong on this spot. And well done, ACCM. He's continued to build towers. He's got towers around here. What a game from Backed. He really... He showed what he's capable of in this game, and possibly what he can do if this series does continue.
What is Miguel's APM at the moment?
I don't know what he could really do. He actually... Realistically, he has to decide on what to do next with 200 wood. So, do you want to build a market? Because if you build a market, you then have to buy wood for a lumber camp. So it's almost better to, like, make a lumber camp, then wait for the market wood. I'd say his APM is probably equal to what Doubt would have in post-imp, but apart from that, not too sure.
Greater or equal?
You know what? I think Doubt probably has faster APM post-imp. But, you know, listen, it's been a long time. We haven't had Doubt in this tournament. I needed to make a Doubt joke. And it felt good to make one finally. Obviously, that's false.
Ooh. So, yeah, he is not even allowed to send the resources over to Dogao. So Miguel is just sitting it out while Dogao's keyboard is certainly burning here. But, well, he is sitting at pop 130 against 120 and 150. Not looking pretty.
I don't know what Dogao sees that makes him think he can win this game. He does have a lot in the queue, and I'm never
Game
gonna...
2. It's
Yeah.
his game too.
That's true. Yeah, he's like, okay, Vietnam can throw, so...
Sling for Miguel!
Miguel received resources and will now maybe go Castle Age. Yeah, there you go.
Cavaliers around. Cavaliers around, though, from
Oh
back
my
T at the
god.
top.
Oh my god.
They might see
Please
it.
see it. Please see it. Please see it.
Oh!
Bact is doing 20 different things right now. Will he be able to react? Can he rebact?
Oh, God.
Oh?
Unlikely. He's still microing the top there. If
Oh?
so, then it was just a random click next to the gold. Can we
Oh?
see some quick balls here?
Oh?
Miguel, top 5. We could be defeated.
Oh!
Don't stumble.
No!
Misclick.
Miguel! Miguel's gonna be defeated! He's defeated! And the game is over! Now they resign. I think this is so funny because Brazil have been dead for like 5 minutes. But Dogao only decides to GG once his teammate gets defeated. Oh my word, the scenes.
Well, maybe Dogao didn't believe Miguel. And he's like, yeah, I have a market, but I don't have the time to look over. Do your best.
like ideally from Brazil's point of view, Brazil will still win this set. And if they do, then they can laugh about it. But oh my word, that's hilarious. That's something that I would only ever expect to see with a team like Viper MBL. You know what I mean? Like, or any secret, or sorry, GL team. Like Viper saying, no, it's fine, man, it's fine. And then letting someone die. Oh my word. Okay, so Nilly, so that was a funny way to end it. But how good was Bact in this game?
So good. And it just felt like in the mid game that he couldn't really do enough. But ACM just bought so much time with his fast attacking spearmen, with all those towers, was extremely annoying.
Yeah.
And Dogao simply didn't have a unit choice that he could go for in Castle Age.
Yeah. And I think another thing that we haven't said a lot with Vietnam is I think they out-strategized here. Yes, they weren't able to have the Inca pick if you look at the draft. However, they did have Teutons. Obviously, we just saw it. I was looking for it on the draft. And Teutons seem to counter Aztecs. And if you're able to get to a good boom position with Teutons, which you can frequently do on this map, you could probably outboom Lithuanians in the mid-game as well. So I like Teutons a lot in that spot.
Lithuanians already suffered so much against ACM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the big problem was simply Dogao. I think he initially wanted... Did he really want to play 5 militia into
FC
Fast Castle?
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, you do have to question making anything as Aztecs. Like, making one Monastery Monk, even in defense, is a bit questionable against Teutons in Castle. So I can understand why he wanted to gain a boom lead, but the militia didn't contribute anything. And again, to quote Nikov, Aztecs feel useless in this matchup past Dark Age. And he wasn't able to use the Dark Age bonuses.
I'm already looking at the timeline, Tristan.
We should just title this The Struggle of Miguel. Oh, man. You know what's funny, Nilly? I really felt like Vietnam had kind of given up in Dark Age when they didn't call the restart. They were lamed, and ACCM just allowed his berries to be walled in. But they made it work anyways. So good for them. And now we get to see what Brazil has in store for us on their home maps. Ghost Lake and Team Islands. Now, if you're Brazil, and let's say you're confident you're going to win this next game, which map do you pick? And of course, which map do you not show the world?
I think Indians Britons for Ghost Lake is pretty standard. So that is like the meta play. The question is, do you want to play meta, or do you feel that confident that your Team Island strategy is good enough? So I think higher chances on Team Islands, but also hiding strategies if you delay Team Islands to game number 5.
Yeah, I don't know if these maps really have hidden strategies anymore. I think it's more so how you might decide to play. It's probably best to go with Britons, Indians, because that is so strong if you're Brazil. I agree there. And then if you're Vietnam, we've seen a lot of Khmer on this map. So maybe you go something like Khmer Vietnamese or Khmer Chinese. And then Persians, Portuguese on Team Islands if it gets there.
We did see Khmer actually being picked as a landing civ as well, right? That
Yeah.
was Norway in the last round, which felt really weird. I think Persians, Portuguese feel more natural. I think simply you go Chinese because you picked it that early, so they value it higher. I think Vietnamese is not much worse than Chinese in this scenario.
Yeah, I think while Vietnamese do have the potential for rats and archers and post imp, we very rarely see late games on Ghost Lake. I think a lot of these games end in late Castle Age, early Imperial. So I would probably choose Chinese. But you know what? I actually see the map is going to be Team Islands.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're back to talking about the maps, or not the maps, sorry, the civs we think we'll see. And I think Persians, Portuguese, it makes the most sense for Vietnam. And then Vikings, Malay, I suppose, for Brazil.
Yeah, exactly that. Feels very reasonable. Persians, not top tier on water, but still more HP on those dogs, so it makes so much easier to keep them alive, being annoying, putting a threat in the head of your opponent. Faster working dogs, extra wood, extra food at the start. You will guarantee to have a solid dark age.
Mm-hmm.
Also landing potential. Well, those knights could be sweet.
All right. Before this next game launches, which will be soon, so I want to say thanks to everyone who's watching on my channel, on Nilly's channel. I know there's plenty of people watching on other channels across YouTube and Twitch. Thank you guys for being hyped for the 2v2 World Cup. This is just the quarterfinal, or quarterfinals, I guess, and we have the semis and the third place match in the final next weekend. But it means a lot, man. The players have put in a lot of time. Of course, Microsoft decided to chip in a lot of prize pool, and they do that because you guys are all about these tournaments. So you make the work worth it for the players and also for myself and the team. So thank you guys. It's been fun. I know that Neely and I have been fully focused on the games, but we do appreciate you being out there.
Yeah, I think they're really understanding that you can't answer a lot of questions. Obviously, in your solo cast, you're more interactive, can answer some more of the questions. This one is more interactive between the two of us, but support has been crazy, even in the sets that, well, we cast together, and we have the civilizations.
All right. So any surprises here?
Yes, indeed. Well,
Okay, you called it then.
ACM agrees with MBL and is trying to make a Khmer landing happening.
Okay, so this is interesting on many levels. The civilization should be showing up for people now if they haven't heard, but it will be Malay and Vikings for Brazil, a country who's very well known for being dominant on water. And then for Vietnam, we have Portuguese and Khmer. Now, the meta we've seen is to have one person try and win water and another person land. It seems pretty clear that Vietnam will try that because Khmer don't have any real water bonuses. And since you can hop inside of houses with Khmer, it's really unique and fun to land with Khmer. Now, I don't think Vikings Malay is set up nicely for a landing, Nilly, because you typically go scouts into knights. Malay, they have weak knights, and so do Vikings. So I really don't know what Brazil's planning on here.
I think they might just play full water and try to intercept the landing. One play that could just be Miguel's, maybe backdock, 6 fishing ship, and stable at home, just try to defend with scouts against Khmer.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing, Nilly, and I wasn't sure how teams who would just go water would play it until I saw, I think it was actually Brazil B. I forget who they're playing against. Oh, it was Taiwan. And it was Riot there who went back dock with additional fishing ships and just made a bunch of scouts at home and then just mopped up that landing. So I suppose the downside of going for the landing all the time is that it's expected and teams can develop some type of strat to counter it.
Yeah, also the landing, maybe we'll have a mix-up and Khmer actually goes for archers as a landing.
Yeah.
Not really the typical thing, though. It is nice to be very active on the map. The question, though, is if you double backdock, which might be an option here for Miguel and Dogao, how do you ever get control of that center? It also gives some time for the opponents, like next level mind games might be Khmer and Portuguese actually play defensive docks fast castle themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, lots of options. Now, in late game, who do you think is better on water?
Portuguese. Like I love Caravel. I think Vitoria are incredible. You get all the upgrades for Portuguese. Vikings can make something happen, and I think you will see different micro against those Caravels. Wasn't Argentina against Spain. You already saw
Yeah,
how good longboats can be, but I still think Caravel is the dominating unit on water.
that combined with making Vitorias to get resources is helpful. But what about Khmer? Portuguese are strong, but what about Khmer? I think they're a bit lacking on the waterfront, correct?
Who again?
The Khmer civilization. Like, let's say it goes late, and then Bact has his caravels. What does ACCM do on water?
I think they have shipwright and fast fires.
Oh, that's enough then. Yeah, I
I
mean, you would
think
probably
so.
want them on fast fires and then Portuguese and caravel. Fascinating.
Yep.
Some people speculating in chat on why no Italians. Italians were globally banned. So it's really interesting if you go back to the draft as we're 60 seconds away from the game. Vietnam and Brazil had some interesting plans
Oh,
because,
no shipwright.
oh, they don't have shipwright. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
but galleon and fast fires.
but if you look at it, Brazil picked Team Islands as a home map, and then with their global ban, globally banned Italians, which is one of the best water civs. And then it was Chaos Pit home map for Vietnam, and they globally banned GOTS, which is one of the best Chaos Pit civs. So we're in the game nearly. Did this game start before the spec delay finished?
I'm a bit surprised as well.
Does that mean we have a
I'm just,
restart? Something
potentially.
tells me, because we shouldn't be able to fast forward. There's one restart per best of 5. And because of what Nilly and I saw on our screens, I think that one of these teams may have decided to call their restart. I noticed Miguel's Island is really awkward. So close to the shoreline. The gold's rangeable. We'll see. I guess we'll just speed up, Nilly, and find out. But I expect there to be someone resigning right around now. Yeah.
358, indeed. Brazil calling their restart.
All right.
Was it the gold and the island of Miguel? Because if he faces one galley, that's
Yeah.
really ugly for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's why restarts have existed for a long time, just in the off chance that there's some extra RNG favoring one team, and Brazil wants to take no chances. That's fine. All right, so we have even more time to speculate, Nilly, but let's speculate more on the mindset of the players. Brazil were looking good after going up 2-0. In fact, they had an amazing comeback in game 2. And then Miguel spent most of the previous game trying to prevent himself from being defeated. And Dogal wasn't able to do too much. So do you think that affects their mindset at all?
Are you still in the game?
I just left the game.
Okay. I think their mindset won't be affected by that at all. Something we have to mention though: where did they send the villagers? Where are they trying to dock? And I see ACCM, the Khmer player, front dock. Back T, side dock with Portuguese. Dogao and Miguel both with a front dock. This is really interesting for Vikings.
Okay, so Dogal and Miguel both front docking. It's interesting for Vikings because of the lack of fire galleys, right?
So short distance could be troublesome against Portuguese in that case.
Gotcha. Well, guys, we do have, my apologies for the delays, but this happens with live games. We have a few minutes to wait before we launch back in. I think their mindset will be fine. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if they lose this game and they don't play to the best of their ability, then their mindset might be off. But you still just have to try and forget the previous games and find a win. But I really feel like after watching the previous game, seeing the civilizations here, especially with such a YOLO strat coming with a landing, that it's possible that Vietnam can tie up this best of 5.
Certainly. Team Island is, I think, a map with a lot of variance. A lot of stuff can go weird. There's a lot of like rock, paper, scissors when it comes to like how are you landing, how you're trying to go for landings, right? At some point, the meta was building scouts at home.
Yeah.
And if you do that and both players go for water, then it might get tricky. If you land and they instantly see that, then it also gets tricky. So it won't be as clear, and you don't really know what you get into it once you load up into the map.
What's unique about Team Islands and going for whatever strategy you decide on versus other maps is that you can't scout what they're going for on Team Islands. If it's Arabia or Ghost Lake, you can see, okay, they're walling. Okay, they have this many on gold, this many on wood. On Team Islands, you just cross your fingers, try and guess, and then wait till Feudal Age, because that's the only time you'll really see anything.
Oh boy, am I excited to see. Also, Malay, they can land, they can just play Fire Galley. It is probably the civilization that's most difficult to play. Because, yeah, you have an advantage, but even top players haven't really figured out how do I play them. If I go up the normal population, you're basically arriving Feudal Age with no resources.
Are Malay better in team games or 1v1s? Random question, but just curious in your thoughts.
Team games?
Team games? Question mark.
Well, the thing is, in team games, you can give a civilization a role, right? And you can say, Malay, go play archers. Britons, go play archers. In 1v1s, Britons, we know they don't have the great transition.
Yeah.
And if you think about a civilization like Magyars, clearly shining in team games because, scouts into knights. They are good at that. In 1v1s, what do you suddenly do against pikemen? So the meta changes a bit. I would say Malay are kind of C tier in both. Maybe more on the B tier side in team games.
Yeah, and I think here, like, you have more civs to choose from in 1v1s because less are eliminated. Whereas here you're drafting, and so you're not going to be able to pick as many civs. So yeah, maybe Malay slightly better. But I'm curious to see if this goes late. I'd really like to see some Vitorias. And I really want to see caravels and longboats and harbors. I mean, 3 out of the 4 civilizations that we'll see in this game have very unique things about them. On water, anyways.
Yeah. Only missing Koreans, right?
That's true. Koreans with turtle ships would be pretty pog. Spanish cannon galleons is the other one that comes to mind, but I don't think we'll see Spanish because Finland B is no longer playing in this tournament.
That game still hurts.
It does so much. I mean, it was kind of a funny way to end it all, and it seemed low confidence for Finland, but I felt bad for Rubenstock there.
No. Speculate down to 25 seconds so we can finally see, match point 2 out of 3 for Brazil.
If Vietnam tie it up, we go on to game 5, and that will be on Ghost Lake. The civilizations seem pretty set in stone for both teams there. We talked about that already. Nilly and I have had a lot of time to talk today, so let's go. These are live. Says Canadian 4991. If these were recorded games, we wouldn't have waited 7 minutes. And
just to give the live feeling.
Yeah, these are recorded games, but we're just giving you the feel of live games. Okay, Miguel for Brazil is here in the red playing as the Malay. In the yellow, we have Dogal. Dogal's playing as the Vikings. Quick look at the maps, Nilly, and it doesn't seem like there's anything too wild here. So hopefully we won't see any restarts. Vietnam do have one, as ACCM is Khmer, and then we have Backed playing as the Portuguese.
The question will be, where are they building their docks?
Yeah.
One, hyper mind game thing might be that Miguel and Togao actually knew that they were going to take the restart and did build the docks at weird spots intentionally to throw off Vietnam.
That's funny. Yeah, because when you restart, everyone resigns. You send your villagers to the other side. Yeah, I think, Neely, that's those are the type of things that come to mind when we have too much time to think and discuss things. I don't think that's something that players would actually go for. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving players too little credit, but I'm with you on that.
That's my mind game every single time. I lose 2 villagers to a boar, call a restart. Opponent will underestimate me, and then in the regame, I still lose. That's
always been my strategy, lower the expectations. When you show up to the stream, lower your expectations. Don't expect anything to be perfect. Don't expect it to be entertaining. Expect it's going to be an awful time. And then even if it's a half decent time, it feels like it's the best stream you've ever watched. That's been my game plan since the very start.
So
that's why
after all.
That's why Force Nothing is the video that brings people in. because it's truthfully kind of average. And then they see Arabia and they're like, what? Arabia, what? I think people just get really upset with that force nothing joke, but my apologies.
Something is happening in the first half hour.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in this game for a second. Yeah. Okay, so dock position for Dogao will now be on the back, Nilly. So very different from what he did in the previous game where they restarted it.
Hashtag mind games.
Hashtag mind games indeed. Massive woodline for Miguel. Sometimes you have a bunch of tiny woodlines. It looks like 2 or 3 combined here. That is actually pretty good for him, I think, because if he does get landed, it's hard for anyone to tower behind that woodline, and he won't have to wall as many locations.
Yeah, not including the best gold though. Main gold there at the front could wall to a CC very easily, and yeah, he has to be happy with that one for sure.
Back dock for Miguel as well. So your initial thought was that Brazil would invite the pressure expecting the landing. Miguel would go for additional fishing ships, and then you'd see Dogao go into galleys. I suppose Fast Castle is also in order, but pretty clear to me that ACCM will be landing in this game. We'll just have to wait and really find out what else will happen.
So ACM...
Front
Question is,
dock.
how many fishing ships are you going for? You have the short distance. The question also, Dogao, Miguel, where do they put their own scouts? Typically, players have been patrolling them basically at the front of your own shore.
It'd be very much like the Vietnamese players to palisade the Komodo dragons too. I know Bact has done that for years. So if he scouts the Komodos, you can place palisades over that just in case enemy villagers show up. The Komodos will attack, and then if they're no longer over your palisade, it's not a bug, it's a feature, you'll know that something's up. But yeah, the scouts patrolling on the front for Brazil especially will be important. To answer your question, because I was playing the landing role for my team, I think 3 fishing ships and then transport's the way to go. Investing into more fishing ships doesn't really feel possible in Dark Age anyways.
Okay. Well, you're saving the barracks. That's a good thing for Khmer, right?
Oh, he's going transport now. Okay, so he's gone 2 fishing ships and transport and getting loom. This will be incredibly fast uptime.
With 6 on wood.
6 on wood.
Even skips a house. That will be a quick landing. Hello.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that might be the way to do it. If 2 feudal age scouts could stop you, get to their base before they're in feudal age. Miguel's about to click up, though, and the uptimes are not too shabby for all the players, actually. As all players but Miguel have clicked up. Miguel does advance faster to the next age with Malay. Any signs that we'll see any transporting from Brazil?
Well, Miguel is not on gold, so he won't play water. So I assume he will just go for the normal scout defense, kind of what we expected before.
Okay, so scout defense, yep. Not on gold, lots on wood. He's going 5 fishing ships, maybe 6, maybe 7, but I think he needs to prioritize the barracks next. And then here's that transport. And both scouts from Vietnam are coming over.
Honestly, if you play this strategy, if you're Miguel, you can add 2 more villagers.
Yeah, probably.
His barracks will be so late, stable will be delayed. He's now feudal age with only 20% on his barracks.
This could be so good for Vietnam. If they just spot that villager, this would be so good. They can kill that villager from Dogao and then build the stable right there, and there's no way it can be stopped.
Uh-oh, problems. Indeed, still only waits for feudal age.
Yeah, look at Dogao. He's placed the palisades over the Komodos, but the villager has not gone close to the Komodos, and there's the signal. There's the signal from Dogao. He's saying they are here.
Villagers are walled in. Dogao,
Oh, the blocking!
Send 2 villagers. Nice block.
Oh, that was so good. What a play from Bact and ACCM. And with the villagers being walled in now, more scouts can come out. Right. Also, good reaction from Brazil. And keep in mind that while villagers have gone down, Miguel has added quite a few fishing ships. So his eco should be better than ACCM. The idea, though, is that Bact is able to take out those fishing ships with full water control. And then ACCM can have that main focus be on land.
Beautiful stuff there, Dogao walling himself fully. The thing is, with this strategy, it's always nice if you force the opponent to go for all the quick walls and have fire galleys at his base
Yeah.
at the same time, something they couldn't do this time.
You know, this is interesting. ACCM's looping around with his transport. I don't know if that thing's going to work anymore. And look at the play from Miguel, who has brought in scouts and spearmen and even building a tower. He really wants to render this area useless for Vietnam.
Well, he has to build the tower to deal with the 2 villagers there, right? Otherwise, he will never find the kill. Had to wall around it. Always a threat in the back of his head. Spearman won't get the kill, though.
Interesting how we have the transport there, and the Brazilians are tracking that. We have to keep everyone updated on Backed. I think it's probably good for Brazil that Backed wasn't able to pressure Dogao right away, because that gives Dogao time. But there go ACCM scouts, and for now, the villagers are just going to chill out in those houses.
And we'll have some pressure now from Back T next to Miguel. First fire galley's getting attacked. Or fishing ships attacked.
Fishing ships getting attacked. They will likely go down. Fight that didn't look too good for ACCM here, but he's still able to produce scouts. Those villagers could also escape at any time. I don't think that tower accomplishes all that much for Miguel.
Only if you wall it before the houses.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's a very weird situation, and this is what the landing can do to you. It looked like it would be good for ACCM, but half of his scouts didn't engage right away. And the villagers there and very boldly attacking the stable, but I think he's trying to click the palisades. Oh, man. Miguel really focused on that, and will be having to pay attention to water now. Miguel has kept his fishing ships alive, but Dogao needs to save him here.
Well, how can he, though? 2 galleys only, low HP, and we already have galleys added. With fletching, those fishing ships could die quite quickly.
Update on the villagers. Still over here. They're still hiding in that house for ACCM. He could sneak around. I think making an archer range would feel very good here. And so many spearmen. And there he goes. There's a Komodo dragon. And the fishing ship's still alive for Miguel, but he's unable to use them nearly. What a crazy game.
Lost 2 now. So had reasonable numbers there in production for sure. Just feels like Back T can play the game of his dreams here.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. ACCM doesn't have a house to hide in. Does not have a house to hide in. It'd be very worth it for Miguel to focus down that villager. The villagers will die. That's huge.
Oh, yeah. That is so lovely.
Now the stable
and that's
cannot
what the tower
really
was
be used.
for, right?
Yeah.
You kind of force the villagers to move out to unsecure area.
Yeah, and now we have a pause. This feels very much like a tactical pause. Like, ACCM loses his vills. Vietnam realize, oh, shoot, that's bad for us. Let's talk about what we do next. So why don't we take this time to talk about what they should do next, Nilly? Bax needs to have an amazing game and up to Castle Age, which he's about to do. That's an insane uptime. So he needs to win water. And I think if he wins water, or even gets a lead on water, ACCM, who's farming at home, could always just transport again.
But how do you get the lead? Dogao will have some galleys now pressuring the fishing ships there. Back to you with a bit of a late reaction. I think a 4th dock and some fishing ships could have been nice.
Yeah, what do you think about the fact that Bact has been going with a lot of galleys here? He didn't go with too many fire ships. He actually has galleys in the back now that Dogao needs to deal with.
Will be tricky for him. 6 against 7 galleys. Can't re-patrol in. Now it could be 7v7. More HP, obviously, on the side of Back T.
And Bact has run in here. He's got a good volley off. Gets another good volley off. Micro needed. This is closer to the docks for Dogao, so he should, in theory, end up winning this fight. I love galley wars. This is so much fun.
We did see those for, what is it, like 16 years or something in this game. And then they completely vanished for some years after that.
Yep, that's what the forums will do for you. The water balance is more interesting nowadays, but I think there was a time where people were complaining it was very old after a while, which I think is fair. But this uptime, though, is going to be nuts for both Vietnamese players, actually.
How's Dogao was struggling that much? Well, only 18 minutes into the game, only had 4 fishing ships, so not the most unreasonable situation for him. 4 docks still very far in the back, and the big question will be, Back T, will he stay on war galleys, or is there a caravel transition in the books?
Look, transport. ACCM's coming back. So he's just going to transport right over, and then he'll make more buildings, and he could go right into Knights. But yeah, Caravels would be a wonderful move at some point.
And he still has a scout there as well, so he knows what's up.
Yeah, it's true. The scout's there for ACCM. Lots of forward docks for Miguel. It's interesting.
Want to transition into fire ships there.
Yeah, full water control. Feels like he'll be closer to help out Dogal, who is back docked. Does Brazil see this? Brazil does not see this, and Miguel hasn't walled at all because he thinks that he's dealt with the threat.
Uh-oh, fire ships. Okay. Oh, fishing ships getting away. Pacti playing a good game. Lots of control by him.
Yeah, the comeback is officially on here, guys. The fishing ships for Miguel, they've been traveling more than fishing. Backed is in a good position, and ACCM will have, I mean, technically 3 stables, but 2 stables forward that he can produce out of, and I don't see Miguel being able to survive that.
Well, Miguel simply having no idea there. Might be a mistake. I think, isn't it the spot to go for Town Watch?
I mean, yeah, definitely. You definitely want to go for Town Watch. But I can also understand how secure you might feel after killing those villagers. This isn't the first time we've seen a team lose their forward and then get right back over here. I think Germany did that in their games against Argentina. But he's actually going for double monastery, so maybe he expects this.
Oh, yeah. Maybe his spider senses. Honestly,
Yeah.
Spearman is now taking good look at it. He knows.
I think he was scanning there. You can scan to try and build something in an area you've scouted, and if you can't build there, you expect something to be there. That's a crazy moment to be scanning like that, though. Seriously. Because if he didn't have the monasteries here, it's already going to be tough for him. It would be way, way worse.
Take a look. Maybe wall failed there. No.
Oh, man. And you know what, Nilly? Look at this grouping from Miguel and Dogal on water. Great teamwork.
Demos okay-ish there. Oh, very okay-ish.
Very
Pacti
okay-ish.
needs to run quite far, though.
Okay, Nilly. Big thing that I've been thinking about as I've been watching these island games and the landings. I think that the person who's landing should be prioritizing the player who's water dominant. Like Dogal, all he wants to do right now is make galleys and focus on water. Since Miguel has prepped some monk defense, I think ACCM needs a hard switch to hit Dogal.
Also, what you need to do is, like, timing. Like, ACM should constantly say, okay, now I'm attacking Dogal's walls. He's quick walling now. And that's the moment where Pacti should maybe force a micro war.
Yeah, that's true. If you really want to get technical about it, that would be the way to do it. These players, even though they are amazing, are only human.
Yeah, that's actually something we luckily had an option against Argentina, where Jordan said, Nilly, he's over-chopping in 10 seconds. Force the water fight. And I went for a questionable water fight.
Yeah.
Took some micro fights against Capwatch. He didn't take his wood line. Jordan got in with his knights.
Ah, nice. Yeah, there was a crazy game, too. Yeah, it's something that we would never, as we're watching here, realize is going on with the comms.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No chance.
great job from Miguel. Gets 2 conversions. And while ACCM does get one in return, it does feel like that with water being the focus, things are going pretty darn good for Brazil. I mean, it's all down to Dogal's numbers right now. He's got 30, and Miguel is going to try and stabilize. But his monks... He'll lose all of his monks there. That was really poor.
How's Dogal that far ahead in villages? He's 10, 15 higher than everyone else. Doesn't have the craziest amount of fishing ships.
2 TCs. He actually has 8 fishing ships. I think Backed has only been on 2 or 3, so that does help with Viking land eco.
Yeah.
Well, if Vietnam will win, they're going to win through ACCM. Backed is obviously needed, but Backed is going to be outmassed on water if there's not some large distraction. And the distraction will continue. We've got Knight v Knight. We've got Scouts. We've got some Monks. But ACCM will need more.
I think Pacti can now take a good fight against Dogal there. Very close in. He goes in deep before he shoots.
Oh, wow. Yeah, downside of having your numbers split, I suppose. And actually, this Caravel could get a juicy pass-through shot here because of the position it's in.
It is tricky, right? Because most of the time you kind of patrol in, and then it shoots the shortest unit. You need to kind of micro them manually to shoot the back units to really get the full effect out of the Caravel in this case.
Yep, Monk's getting a conversion again. Or I should say Monk. But I like how Miguel did not hesitate to make scouts and his own knights, and how he's ramming down that monastery. But he's also losing Vills right now. He just lost Monks, and the knights are still out there for ACCM.
And now going for the tower. Not sure if that's priority number 1. Quick wall there saves the villager at the monastery.
Big fight on water. This is classic stuff here. Dogao microing, and you also have the micro from Back, but I think Back needs to bail on this. He actually has less there, but Dogao still runs away. Maybe it's because he's so close to the reinforcements.
Well, that's also more HP on those galleons, right? So having 2 more might not be enough. But yeah, it feels better numbers for Dogao. More reinforcements arriving.
A very close game here, Nilly. Dogao has the eco lead. Fights seem slightly better for him over Backed. We still haven't been able to see a lot of pressure hit Dogao on land, and that's because of Miguel's defense.
Some Caravels being mixed in again, and Dogao actually goes back, doesn't continue to chase.
No, I'm saying wow because of 2 things now. I see Dogao is about to click up to Imp. You look at Back, he's nowhere near. And then Miguel has more knights than ACCM does right now, and he only has 1 stable, so he's gotten quite a few conversions here.
Yeah, surely. You see quite some there, and the stables are getting taken down. This looks pretty damn solid for Brazil, and continuing to take good water fights.
Yeah, exactly. It's only gotten worse on land. It's only going to get worse on water. Now, Islands is definitely a map where you can stall it out, but maybe here, Back needs to force some fights with Caravels, because if he doesn't do something soon, it's going to be even more difficult for him to fight Dogao.
Just compare the island and the colors there. Like yellow, red, some blue dots in there. And the island of the Vietnamese, 1 green base, 1 blue base, and nothing in between.
Yep. Right, small mistake from Miguel. I think he can get away with this, though, after all the conversions he had.
Fight.
Big fight on water, Nilly.
10 against 14, both still continuing to micro.
Yeah. Again, though, it's funny how every time Dogao goes into a fight, it feels like he's ahead by 3 or 4 units. He's got to be careful here, though. He really needs to pull back. There's quite a few Caravels, and he's 70% of the way to the Imperial Age.
While Bakhti is sitting at 500 food, 800 gold now, 22 farmers, and mixes in War Galleys Caravels here. Can't really decide on what he wants to go for. Kind of weird to me.
ACCM's eco is pretty sick, actually, but he's not contributing that much, especially not on water, and he could lose access to so much gold if he doesn't have control on water. Man, Miguel, again, ramming down the buildings, and actually, this will be the end of this little push for ACCM in a second. Miguel will take care of that stable. Oh, actually, he got unlucky there with the conversions.
Dogao with a crazy eco can afford everything there, reaching Imperial Age, and then queues War Galleys again. Just goes back a bit, waits for his upgrades. Should be full control, and then it's probably time for Miguel to land.
Yeah, Backed is like, ACCM, he's like, come on, the game plan is we have to defeat Miguel. What are you doing? That's the way we beat them. Yeah, Backed definitely feels the need to force a fight after seeing that Dogao hit Imp. But that is way too much. This is crazy.
Oh boy, getting forced back, clicks multiple times. Therefore, the War Galleys are repositioning themselves. Lots of losses while retreating.
Yeah, Dogao also doing the smart thing to start sending a few galleons around to the shoreline and the back docks. Look at this game from Dogao. He already has galleons prepped in the back in case back docks come up. As he patrols the rest forward, he has 10 units queued, constantly queuing them up with the upgrades.
God. And Dogao, incredible in game number 1. Game number 2, he really delivered. Game number 3, weird choice of the strategy. But game number 4, he's back at it again in full control.
Yeah, seriously. He has been one of the best players of this tournament. There's no question. And he's looking good here. And Miguel seems to really fit the team role nicely. I mean, when needed, he can do everything Dogao can do, but he tends to be put in those more awkward roles while Dogao can carry. How good are Caravels, Nilly? Because we haven't seen Elite Caravel yet. And Portuguese they start to get more interesting come Imperial Age.
You need a lot of upgrades on them as well, right? We're still missing Correct. We don't have a castle. And I personally think caravels are really good, especially the more clumped up you are, the better they become.
Yeah.
Vikings won't have fast fires, so you can stay on those for quite some time. I think it is the unit we need to see a comeback.
That combined with ACCM getting docks up and going for fires would be a good play, I feel. And then you have Miguel, and Miguel is just clicked up to Imp, but he's Malay, so he'll be there soon, and he's docking. Do you think he should go for fires? I think Malay get fast fire ship.
Third landing, by the way, ACM in the base of Dogao.
Whoa!
And yeah, I think Miguel should go for fast fires, just to have some buffer before then Bekti has to add some demos himself and can't stay on as caravels.
But what if ACCM just streams Hussars constantly? This is really dangerous. He has 40 farmers, he has 4 stables, and you can't go monk defense against Hussar spam and Imp.
Oh, nice quick walls by Dogao. Yeah, there's going to be ugly for sure.
How? Like, I don't even know how this happened.
Maybe a snuck villager? I don't know either. Uh-oh, big water fight ahead of us.
Big water fight, and probably not a fight that Backed wants to take right now because he is outnumbered. And again, you know what? He's not outnumbered.
Caravels, you're winning this one. Actually,
Yeah.
it was 29 to 35, so in fact, he is outnumbered. But Caravels, I think, will win the fight there, even if they're not elite.
Oh my word, this will swing massively. Dogao has to somehow prep some defense, otherwise Rams and Hussars could kill him. And he doesn't seem to have enough to push back on water right now. This is, well, you know what? 72 military for Dogao. He needs to get it all together in one spot. But still, there's a chance for Vietnam.
I think so as well. The big problem here for Bekti is how little he was on stone, right? Still no castle, still no Karak, and still no Victorious.
Yeah, and I think Miguel is going to go into Halberdier, but he hasn't even clicked Pikeman yet. The Light Cav are doing work here, and these buildings will remain. This is messy for Brazil, but big fight.
Massive water fight. Oh boy. The Carol numbers aren't really there. Not everything is shooting. I think there should be enough numbers for Dogao.
I mean, it better be. He's got 70 on water. Backed only has 29. Now, is it good value for Portuguese? Because it feels like they're killing a lot. Yeah, now that the fast fires show up, they have to back away. And it's looking good for Dogao still. Can Vietnam find a way to win this through ACCM, who will deny this castle?
Ooh, a lovely one. Now the villagers are being sent back to the TC, but ACM, he is extremely annoying.
Forward town center. Forward town center. He will have more villagers here soon. Forward siege workshop. I mean, if Backed can just somehow castle a shoreline, so he's not losing ground on shoreline, and get 2 mass caravels, it really feels doable. Oh my god, Miguel, down to 85 population. What is happening to Brazil?
Uh-oh, really problematic there, and he just wanted to help some on the water. That's not going to happen. Now some demos mixed in by Bekti, lovely at that angle, and, well, fights are so clumped up now. That's where Portuguese should really shine.
Oh man, Miguel is actually sending wood to Dogao at the same time. And man, I am so impressed with the resilience of Vietnam. They were down 2-0. Not everyone, but a lot of people in Twitch chat were saying it was going to be a sweep, and that does happen. But it looks like they've given themselves a real opportunity here. They do have the population lead if you compare the team populations.
And if the series ends, I think you will be really impressed by the Brazilians.
Exactly. Yeah, both teams are amazing. ACCM and Backed, they were 3rd place in 2018. So, I mean, no surprise if they're able to take it that far. But, I mean, it still really depends, right? Because Dogao, he has so much on water, but they need to find an answer to what the Vietnamese have on land.
Should ACM add something that is not Hussar, though? Maybe some skirms?
Honest, like, Nilly, should you not be trying to prep trade at this point? I think maybe going full Hussar into trade boom is the way to go. But maybe that's too early. Maybe you need fast fires with all that gold that's backed. Oh, it's an awful position for him. He needs to back away where he's already building those markets. Maybe skirms could be good, but also you could just go ram Hussar, apparently.
Apparently. Would love to see some upgrades on these, though. No contest on those Rams. 4 working already. 5th one is trying to join the party. Uh-oh, this is messy for Dogao.
For what Dogal's not losing, he will have idols.
Yeah.
He has less than 80 villagers. He has 50 idols, and I think that castle will go down to regular capped rams.
Oh, God. Why is he not... He can't really afford some berserks. Okay, now finally he's queuing up some.
Miguel took too many losses, and Miguel's trying to get pikemen over here, but that castle's going down. There's one berserk.
But no upgrades on that one either. The Hussars are happy to see the castle going down. They can just raid all game long now.
Oh my goodness, and most of those farms are untouched. And the GG is called! We're going to a game 5.
Holy moly. We expected a lot from the series, and it is delivering.
Oh, no. So now you might need to be a little bit frazzled if you're Brazil, right? Because I think I'd prefer to be the team that lost the first 2 and then responded with 2 wins going into game 5 and not the other way around.
Yeah, probably. On the way up is where you want to be. And ACM, first landing, failed. Second landing, failed. Third landing, probably instantly wins the game.
Yeah, and actually what's funny is there's consistency between the second and third landing in terms of mindset for Miguel. Miguel, after clearing up the first landing, said, I'm going to go water. And what did he do? He added docks in the front, and then he found the landing and had to deal with that. And then after he dealt with that one, he added the docks on the front, said, I'm going to go fast fire, and then surprise, Hussars. But the difference is, Hussar spam, you can't go monk defense for that. You can't just make a few knights, and it is strong enough to be able to downright kill both players. And in this case, it was the important switch as well, where ACCM hit Dogao. And Nilly, I still don't know how that villager got there. Like, was she in a house? I didn't see a transport. They didn't have water control on that side. How did that happen?
I think it was a transition. Like, the villager from the top landing, number 2, just went through their monastery in the center and then just clicked to the bottom.
Maybe. I mean, I just assumed everything was cleared. If we had the time and Game 5 wasn't starting, I'd maybe go through. Someone said maybe a conversion. Oh, maybe he converted one.
Oh, yeah?
Because he lost both the villagers, but he also had a monastery there for a bit. It's very possible that he converted a villager.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 20 kills for ACCM. Most food in the game, and that answers the question, what is stronger, going water and defending on land, or going land and having one person go water? It was still close, but the landing paid off, even failing so many times.
There was really, like, Khmer farmers extremely carrying there. In the end, he had 46 on farms.
Game. I don't know what is best, actually. I don't know if there is a meta. It comes down to preference. But I've seen teams do so many different things on that map. It will be Ghost Lake for Game 5. We're expecting Indians, Britons for Brazil, and I'll get even more specific on that. I'm expecting Drushfast Castle for Dogao, one of his best plays. And then Persians, Chinese, Vietnamese remaining for Vietnam. So nearly maybe Persians, Chinese?
It has to be Persians, Chinese, yeah. And honestly, Drush FC is something we saw like 1 or 2 weeks ago on Ghost Lake.
Yeah.
I think people even realized that you don't even need to drush anymore on this map. Ghost Lake is so easily evolvable if you don't want to include your main gold that maybe even direct FC is a play.
Yeah, now it is Vietnam. So maybe they'll pick Vietnamese. Before Vietnam were buffed with the eco upgrade discount, the Vietnamese players did pick Vietnamese a lot, which I thought was pretty cool. So I don't know, maybe with a lot of experience there, they'll pick them. But I still feel as though Chinese are stronger because of their bonuses. And it seems like the real way to compete with Britons might be to have 3-range, 4-range archers, a lot of archers in the mid game. And I think Chinese are better at that.
I
Also,
think so as well.
it
Just
doesn't
to
go
mess the
post-imp
archers.
frequently, right? So if it doesn't go post-imp, it's not like elite rats and archers or something you're going to look towards on this map.
I think it could often go into late imp. Yeah,
Okay.
those shifts.
Well,
What?
what? Wait,
Wait.
these aren't civs on the draft. Do you see Burmese on the draft?
I see Burmese against Persians being picked.
But it's not on your draft, right?
It's not on my draft, no.
Robo!
Robo!
Okay, this is what we see, by the way, and this is why Nilly and I are confused.
Robo.
Slavs and Britons against Persians, Burmese. We might have to redo this unless the draft was mistaken or something. So they're actually going Slavs over Indians. Interesting. Brazil. Maybe
Yeah.
alphabetically, does it go Burmese and then Chinese? Maybe they misclicked it.
Is there no Vietnamese language file? Are they playing in English?
That's true. I don't know.
I think they're playing in English, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like, you see the sign.
I mean, they would restart it, right? They should restart it. I know the Brazilians immediately are going to be like, "You don't have Burmese." They might actually like Burmese, though. I feel like Persians Burmese are worse, or is worse than their other options.
Now there are very interesting decisions to be made, right? As an admin here. In the past, often the decision was to keep players Persians, and for Burmese, Brazil can pick any of the civilizations that the
That are
opponent
remaining.
still has an option. So it could be Chinese and Vietnamese against Slavs and Britons.
So we're going to find out. So what Nilly's saying is it's kind of gives an unfair advantage to Vietnam if they replay this because they can see the civilizations remaining for Brazil. That said, it's game 5 and there's not many options. Okay, they're replaying this because we had a large spec delay and the spec delay just ended. And they immediately, they resigned at the start.
Yeah. Obviously, this game can never happen. The question is how admin will rule this and how the civ picking is going to work.
Yeah, I'm going to, I will give Ropo my input on that. However, I'm going to allow Robo to make the decisions there.
Okay.
Realistically, it's going to be Persians Chinese or Persians Vietnamese, right? So it's not going to ruin the Vietnamese meta. And I would feel differently about this in game 1 than I would in game 5, you know, because there's only 3 civs remaining.
But even there, the advantage is even bigger, right? So I think it shouldn't, like, rule-wise, it shouldn't make a difference between game 1 and 5.
It says if a player incorrectly chooses a civilization that has been banned or has previously been played, the opposing team may choose the replacement civilization while still following the civilization rules. Okay, yeah. So that is the case. So Persians will be played for Vietnam, and then Brazil now gets to pick whether Vietnam get Vietnamese or Chinese. And I assume will choose Vietnamese because we feel like Vietnamese is slightly worse than Chinese.
Yeah, Persians was correct. Yeah, exactly. I think it should be Vietnamese and Persians.
It's not like a big series-ending mistake for Vietnam, but that's also really silly mistake to make.
Yeah, it would have been worse. That's what I thought for a small second if it was Chinese plus Burmese.
Yes,
and they could have picked Vietnamese instead of Persians.
Then Brazil gives them 2 archer civs, and then you have to play Chinese. Well, I guess Chinese could play Cav, but so we actually don't know what Brazil will decide here, and we might have a delay. But expectation is it will be Slavs and Britons against Persians and Vietnamese. This was not done by mistake at all, intentional. How can you say that when there's a how can you say that when they're now at a disadvantage? Like it's one thing if they do that and there's no decision made against them after that. But I don't think it was on purpose. It most likely was just a misclick. Mind games. Yeah, okay. Okay. Someone's mind is working a little bit too strong, I see. But Nilly, who wins this? I thought when it was 2-0, 2 hours ago, that this was going to be a 3-0 victory for Brazil, and here we are.
Well, game number 1 looked really convincing when it comes to meta play. So
True.
Ghost Lake somewhat similar, relatively similar, we even could say. So I will have to give the advantage to Brazil.
Okay, and chat, I'll ask. 1 in chat if you think Vietnam will win. 2 in chat if you think Brazil will win. I'm curious. I'm with you because of how good Dogao is if he can play safe into archers. And chat seems split 50-50-ish. After this will be Norway versus Russia, by the way, everybody.
Mine are more like 85-15 in favor of Brazil.
Yeah, I honestly can't tell if it's 50-50. Plus, I'm awful at math. I saw a funny message on Discord earlier. They were talking about strategies, and someone said, "Oh, I just did really good math. Can I be a caster now?" And someone responded and said, "No, the rule of being a caster is that you have terrible math. Don't you know?"
Yeah.
Freaking spirit of the law, man. Doing his edited math videos, making us all look bad with our
If I
live
had
stuff.
that much time, I could do math as well.
Okay. They haven't launched yet, and we'll keep you all updated. Back says game bugged, guys. Please review it, please. Oh boy. Interesting. Well, Robo really has his work cut out for him here. If Backed is saying he didn't pick Burmese.
Well, he maybe didn't pick anything and it was just random. That's what most likely happened.
Backed is in my chat right now? Because I didn't see. Oh, he DM'd me.
He should message Robo, not you.
Sure. I mean, let's see. He says game bugged. ACCM can't unready. It was too fast. Please review it. We want free pick. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I mean, to be honest, I think that it'd be very much like back to an ACCM to just, accept if they made the mistake. And it was very weird to pick Burmese there, but I don't know if there's a way. I'll have him speak to Robo. If
that,
it
I
wasn't
think makes more sense than you trying to come up with the reasonable thought.
Yeah, and have 10,000 people give their input in the situation. Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, and 5,000 with that, 5,000 with that. So, yeah.
Let me see here. I should just send Robo a message. This is good luck, have fun. All right.
Yeah, let's do democratic way. We just do a Twitch poll and see how we do an admin role.
It'd be like the gladiator days where it's like everyone goes thumbs up or thumbs down. Do we kill them or do we let them live? Chat's gonna be ruthless. Robo deserves a raise. Oh, he's got a raise.
Actually, the rules are not fully written out there because the rules say if a player incorrectly chooses a civilization that has been banned or previously been played.
What?
But Burmese was neither, right?
That's
Burmese
not
was
that's not
probably
what
just
was
random.
That's not the rule that was sent to me.
Okay.
Oh man, can we just have a game 5, people? I just want to cast some games. Let's see here. I don't. Back to still messaging me, and he actually had a really funny message. It's like, Nilly, when you were growing up, did you ever ask your like dad something, and your dad said no, and so you went to your mom to see if your mom would say yes?
Every day. And then I went back to or mom said no. Then I went to my dad, and I went to him like, yeah, mom said yes, and he was like, okay, if mom said yes, then you can do it. Although both said no.
Okay, well, thank you for entertaining as I'm currently speaking to Backed.
Yeah, this was the moment where I should have laughed, but okay.
Haha, haha, haha. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. But I'm not paying attention because I know that what you're ever going to say next when I am paying attention is going to be just as entertaining. Um, I mean, so I'm in a rough spot. All I'll say, as Bact and I are discussing it, is I said, please talk to Robo, and Bact says he too serious, which basically means that Robo is a hard ass, which he kind of has to be as an admin. But yeah, bear with me, I suppose.
I know.
Ah.
Okay, what's going on?
Well, I think I understand what Bact is saying happened. This is an awkward spot. Bact is saying that he accidentally clicked, that ACCM accidentally clicked Burmese, and when they launched the game, he clicked unready, and the game launched.
But why didn't Back T click unready?
Well, it would be hidden civs. I guess you could see your eyes. But anyways, so they tried to unready, but the game launched anyways. But I think in this case, like, unfortunately, the game was started. There's really not much I can do. I think he's being truthful on that, but it's unfortunate, but we have to play. We have to play on from here, right?
I'm the strict one, right? This one allows too much. Like, why did you click in with Burmese selected?
Yeah, like, I understand. Listen, like, there's so many issues with DE, and I'm not going to say DE is perfect here, and it might be DE at fault. But it's a tough spot to be in, right? Because then Brazil says the rules say this.
I'm the German easily following the rules there.
Oh yeah, I know, Nilly. You're like even like, someone not following the dotted line.
Out. Why did you click out? Click in if you were Burmese.
Sure.
And also, like, in the last 1 second, you can't really unclick. But the first 4 seconds, at least I thought you could unclick. At least that never happened to me. I tried to unclick in the first, like, in the 5th second of the countdown.
Yeah, it just leaves too much room, too much wiggle room, right? There is that human side of it, and I understand that. But we have to play on from here. As I said, having Vietnamese, if that is the case, is not the worst, and it's a tough one. So what to clarify on the decision we've made, as I think they're about to start, hopefully, the decision is that Brazil gets to pick the second civ for Vietnam, which is either Vietnamese or Chinese.
And I know the Viper thing, it would be to give them Chinese. The Nili thing would be to give them Vietnamese.
I don't think, like, it's not like Vietnamese are bad in that spot, right?
No,
Chinese aren't bad in that spot either. So it's not. I hope that, like, Bact said we are very motivated. Like, they really want to win this, right? So it means a lot. There's a lot of tensions are high. You also have to remember, guys, it's not like this is a $20 show match. Like, there's a lot of money on the line, and even more to be had too. So I understand. Yeah, I haven't heard anything more, so I think they'll be starting soon. Now, random civ wouldn't make any sense. You draft civilizations, you play with the civilizations you draft. Random civ would be brutal. That's silly.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I suppose they should be very thankful that they had 2 archer civs, right? Because if they had, like, Persians, Chinese, and then, I don't know, like, Huns, then they'd have Persians, Huns, and they'd be screwed.
For example, and had to go for Persians, Indians.
Yeah. That could be brutal. Then they just go halbs against that.
Yeah, I think, like, percentage-wise, their chances only decrease slightly.
Mm-hmm.
If we think it would have been 50-50 before, I think it's maximum 55-45 now.
Yeah.
Vietnamese are absolutely playable.
Okay. So anyways, I see they're in the game room, and they should be launching. There still will be a couple minutes late. Thank you, guys. Smiley faces in chat. Thank you for being understanding. This is kind of an awkward spot. But Game 5 will start. After this will be Norway against Russia. Another best of 5. Another quarterfinal.
Lots of money on the line for a single best of 1 now.
What's the prize pool jump from losing in the quarterfinals to losing in the semifinals?
So you get 1,100 right now.
Okay.
And if you advance, you're guaranteed 2,200 if you lose the next 2 games. But probably your expected value, let's say if you were an even team, would be like it jumped from 1,100 to like 4,000.
Especially in Vietnam. That's some big money right there, right? I think
Oh yeah.
ACCM's biggest prize pool haul ever was losing round 1 of Hidden Cup 3, which was $1,600, right? So that it would go a long way for them. So I mean, it goes a long way for everybody. Like, type a 1 in chat
Sure.
if you'd love $1,100 right now. You just have to get really good, really, really fast for the next tournament. But anyways, the game will start shortly, Nilly. We felt, regardless of civs, that Brazil would be favored going into this. And there were some delays, too. We've been doing this for over 3 hours now, and the players even had to draft their maps and civs before the game started.
Yeah. It's long for them. Also, remember, it's late in Vietnam as well.
True.
They like to play during the day. And we still didn't discuss Slavs over Indians. So they want to play it more aggressively in Castle Age than we thought.
Yeah, I haven't been all that I don't know. Indians, some games I'm convinced, some games I'm not. And I suppose that means they're more iffy than Slavs might be. So probably a lot of knights from Mr. Miguel, and then probably a lot of archers for Dogal.
But they have to make something happen in Castle Age, right? Because if we think very long term, Paladin from Persian player, Elite Retans from Vietnamese would be the winning composition.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I really need to see the maps first. I need to see how they wall up. If they can wall up. You mentioned that Drush FC might not even be on the cards. So thank you for your patience, everyone. This is what happens with live games. We have a lot of people here. You're all awesome. Every single one of you. Thank you. But there are delays because it's live games. Having played in very long sets, it is very exhausting, which is why we didn't want to do a full weekend of multiple best of sevens, followed by another full weekend of best of sevens. It would have been a lot for the players, a lot for us too. But next weekend we have, well, 2 best of 7 semifinals back to back. And then the next day we have best of 7, third place match, and final. So potentially, we had a potential for
28.
20 games today, and it would be 28 next weekend. Yeah.
20 games today. No.
20
games this weekend.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Thank you. You don't have to whisper it. They can still hear you.
Sorry.
You can whisper apologies to me. That's fine.
Apologies.
Do you just want to cast the whole next game like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, can you stop then?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, hold on a second here. They might have removed the delay for us, guys. Because I'm in the game already. What about you, Nilly?
I am jumping into it as well. Game number 5. Hype.
Okay. It would be just like the last half hour of this series for there to be a restart now. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But it's all on the line here, guys. Big prize pool jump, big prestige jump. The players have put so much time into training. And if you think back to what happened at the start of the day, Brazil was up 2-0 and Vietnam have clawed their way back. Miguel is in the red playing as the Slavs. He's teamed up with Dogal, who's so good with Archer Civs, and he's Britons. Up against him is ACCM, who's the Vietnamese, with backed playing as the Persians.
Okay, and well, the big thing is to judge how good is their map. Can they play Drush Fast Castle? Can they play Direct Fast Castle? Looking at Back T's map first, I already see very wallable left-hand side area, defensive gold. This is really easy. I think this is even a spot where you don't even Drush before.
Yeah, just maybe wall up and go Fast Castle. I like this map because that invitation's always there, Nilly. And there is reward for being passive, but also those main gold spots are always towards that ice area, which you cannot build on to really secure anything in front of that gold. So it invites you to play passive, and you can gain reward, but also there can be some disadvantages later on if you don't have map control.
Yeah, it feels a bit like Golden Pit, right? Because you're somewhat safe.
Yeah.
But then in Castle Age, you need to expand to control the gold.
It's a good point. Also, neutral golds can be very useful. I'm looking at the sides. If this does go late, there's 2 neutral golds on each side. If you look in the back of Miguel's base, way back in that corner, neutral golds. I think there's another one on Dogal's side, and then you have one behind ACCM's base and one beside back's base. So, good map gens there. More areas to expand to. And how do you feel about Persians in this spot?
Well, it's the best choice they could have, right?
Yeah.
You can go fast castle. Obviously, advancing to castle age a bit faster will be lovely for you. Can maybe even add a villager on the way for that. And then, if we get to the big fight and you can close down the distance to the Britain archers, you could just track them.
Yeah, we have barracks for ACCM and barracks now for Dogal. I don't care who you are, you've got to be feeling some nerves here for both teams. Vietnam, you've climbed all the way back to get here. Brazil, you lost 2 games in a row to bring it to the decider. Oh, man. And smallest little mistakes can lose you games, as we've seen so many times in this tournament, too. So they have to be so technical about every decision they make.
Also, this is a skill that is very rarely talked about. But being able to play 100% after this quote-unquote drama, after all this discussion, after the delay, is a major skill that is rarely seen in portfolios.
Yeah, it's not just pressure anymore. You know, there's other aspects to it. It's disappointment you might have in yourself and your team to fall behind. Because if you lose a game you feel like you shouldn't lose, you still feel like you could have done a better job. And those emotions are still there. Here's Dogal, and this is an example of what I'm talking about. 3 militia against 2. So ACCM, he didn't make the 3rd militia. Now this might end up being okay if he ends up walling up, but advantage for Dogal with his drush.
Scouts around as well. I think he can take this one down. Quite surprising. Why did ACM stop after 2? Now he queues the 3rd one up.
Yeah, no, don't even queue the 3rd one at this point. The 3rd one's going to be just as dead as these 2. This brings us right back to what we were saying, Nilly. He feels the need to make the 3rd one because that's what he wanted to do in the first place, but I feel like he's tossing away resources doing that. Fortunately, is going to be walled off very nicely, and I noticed that Bact is going to take the approach that the Max might like to take and go feudal for a lot of eco upgrades with Persians, and then go up to Castle Age.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have seen that from the Max. MBL played that one several times in KOTD as well. Lovely play. Also keeps your opponent guessing a bit more.
Yeah, but that ACCM's looking shaky right now. This has nothing to do with being Vietnamese over Chinese. It just was a poor decision. I suppose since the walls will be up, though, Dogal's Drush won't do much except attack those walls and will not find any Vil picks.
Oh, soon all 4 scouts on one screen. Tries to take the engagement. Now Back T is helping out. Miguel out of position.
Yeah, if it gets the scout, I think Vietnam will like this. Doink, nice. Actually, that's really good work from Bact. He still has a full HP scout. ACCM still has his scout as well. And Miguel found the sheep, and that's about it. And now pay attention to the amount of farms that Bact will go for, because he'll have double bed axe and horse collar on the way. Persian TCs work faster from this point onward. And so that applies to villagers, that applies to wheelbarrow, that applies to the eventual uptime.
Yeah. And therefore the economy should be solid. Slav economy, obviously something we can't laugh at because their food income will be crazy.
So same build for Miguel. And he just has these Slav farms. I think pretty comparable to have Slavs and Persians. It does feel like Persians are better at adding a lot of Vils, whereas Slavs are better than having, at massing knights in the mid game.
Yeah, their late castle edge push is just so incredibly strong. And that's where we think Brazil needs to find the timing.
Yep. Yeah, and then Britons against Vietnamese. There's really not a single civ that can compete with Britons on Ghost Lake when they have the additional sheep. They have the faster working ranges. They have the cheaper TCs. This is exactly where you want your best player to be at if you're Brazil playing Britons. They picked this really early on the draft many, many hours ago. And I think Dogal's uptime is going to be faster, too. He has the extra sheep here. And he is on the way to Feudal Age faster.
Yeah, one pop ahead there. Oh, tricky for ACM. Still has 2D in the back. Think should be a reasonable timing. Dogao already floating quite some resources. Looks sharp.
Yeah, looking very sharp. I recall so many games as Dogao brings the sheep back home. I recall so many games where Dogao was able to carry games if he could wall up and go for fast castle archers. And one of those games was game number 1, where ACCM got destroyed by Drush FC Dogao. So
Yeah, but he was going on to Archer in that one, right? This time, at least he's mirroring the strategy.
true. Now, long term, Vietnamese pretty sick. Imperial skirmisher an option. Also, there's rats and archers. But I think Brazil, they definitely want to win this in Castle Age or get a lead in Castle, because Slavs do not get Paladin and Persians do. And then Britons, while they get Arbalest, they do struggle against mass rats and archers later on.
Well, let's see if that is actually an option. For now, no one on stone. And, well, we're expecting lots of Castle Age aggression, right? So the transition into Rattans will be questionable.
Yeah, it's very, very true, Nilly. And there you have the click up for Dogao, as perfect as you like. He will also make the second range over at ACCM's base. ACCM drops off some food. We'll click up. Not too shabby. Is behind. Actually, hold on. Drop off the food. There you go. Not too shabby. Is behind, but up.
Okay, 15%. One archer range so far for ACM. The question is, when is he trying to squeeze in those upgrades? Second archer range already in production here for Dogao. Well, ACM is building them as well now.
Dogao will tell Miguel, he's just now getting his second range up and he doesn't have an archer yet. I have 2 archers and my second range will be faster. I think Dogao has a slight lead with this archer war. Bact is going to need to send some support, and Bact will click up to Castle Age faster than Miguel. Actually, I take that back. I think they'll be clicking up at identical times. Oh, that's so close. It's unbelievable, man, how close this game is right now. But actually, Bact, he didn't have his stable yet.
Yeah, and the market, so needed to squeeze in another villager. Now forces that blacksmith up, and he will catch up though.
Yeah.
So it will be very reasonable timing for both.
Yeah, he'll catch up because of the Persian speed. What do you think about him adding the market there? Because you look over at Miguel's side, he has not added the market. He's going to save that wood instead.
We've seen that several times. He didn't really need to use it to balance any of his resources. Typical unit simply, this is a blacksmith. I think he will have to add it, otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and at the highest level, you shouldn't need Carto this early. What's going to happen now is Bact will need to add in the blacksmith, will need to get the upgrades, and he's simply invested more wood into the buildings than Miguel has. So you have Dogao with more archers than ACCM and faster to Castle Age, 17 minutes. And then you have Miguel with a better position to probably make knights with upgrades.
12 to 7 archers, Monka S. And, oh no, that's only military, okay. So 3 militia still out there.
Ah,
that
that's
makes
true.
more sense.
That's true. Yeah, militia just attacking the palisades. But extra range for Britons. Dogao already adding the second town center and has these crossbows here.
By the way, small little feature that I really like of ACM. Normally you send 4 villagers on berries, but ACM did send 5. Already done with his berries completely because he knew those would get attacked first.
Yeah, he needs to wall behind though. Or maybe he's waiting and hoping that Dogao will not utilize the extra range well by trying to break through here. What I don't like is that ACCM doesn't have the proper amount on gold, really. He has one range producing archers, but the other range is not producing.
Yeah,
still not producing.
You want to go for 8. Now is sending the 8th one. Was re-walling at the right-hand side. Not the biggest of issues, but numbers simply not as good as Dogao's.
Yeah. I think Dogao, he will try and run in here, get as many pickoffs as possible, but soon think about backing away if Miguel doesn't have the support. Actually, here comes Miguel already with +2 on the Knights.
Oh yeah, and Bloodlines, that is massive. On the other side, only defense upgrade and one defense upgrade and Bloodlines. So 1 upgrade ahead is Miguel and a crucial one.
It feels like Vietnam very much in this game, but right now they need to weather this early Castle Age storm. It'll be extremely awkward to deal with all of this pressure. Good job from ACCM. Not ideal to have to abandon the farms. Now, Persian Knights get +2 attack against archers. If there's ever enough knights out there for Persians, they could group up on those archers and do more damage there, but this is not the time.
No, they're just going for the archery ranges, trying to make the more range work is Dogao. Can someone afford ballistics pretty soon? I don't really see it.
He's killed a few villagers and crossbows here, and man, I'm feeling pressure for the players, but if you're Vietnam, you need Back to have more. Like, Back, I think, he's prioritized eco a bit, but his teammate, who's already going to struggle against Britons, is falling behind, and that's going to be an archery range down pretty soon. ACCM is really going to need some support soon.
Uh-oh, and now the university for ACCM, so problematic, and that's why Britons are so crazy on this map. Your Drush FC just so powerful, extra sheep for Britons. Oh boy, what execution by Dogao so far.
Yeah, and the patience from Brazil to say, we know that if we're taking out those ranges, you can't compete with the Briton player. This really comes down to Dogao being slightly faster than ACCM, but ACCM's current struggles, that comes back to not being competitive against Miguel. Really, I think back to the market, Nilly. He still doesn't have +2. Maybe the second TC was too early. Maybe that'll end up being a positive for him, but say goodbye to those ranges, ACCM.
Full control here. And Dogao behind this. Solid economy. Baek-T. Well, not looking too shabby either. We have some farms dying behind this. What is the next step here for Vietnam? How are they trying to defend this?
So I think it's all comes down to Backed getting a numbers advantage. And that's something that Brazil should not allow to happen. ACCM is forced to mix in more ranges. He should stay 1 TC forever, truthfully, and just get more numbers out. But he's going to be so far behind compared to Dogao's eco that it needs to happen soon!
Why did he move out there? That felt so risky.
Oh, he moves out and is probably trying to group up with his teammate. But it's all going wrong for Vietnam. This is
Look
brutal.
at ACM's KD, 3-22. Baek-T, 1 kill this whole game.
But it's the pressure you fall into because he knew he needed to do damage. You can say, oh, he shouldn't have moved out there, but he knows that he needs to group up with his teammate and do damage. And so there's that constant pressure in the back of his mind. I'm behind. I need to push. And so he moved out, and Brazil just calmly waiting there pounced on him. I really think the reason he moved out there, though, Nilly, was because the natural move for Brazil is to move over to Backed after taking those ranges. And he knew he would need to save his teammate. But it all stems from the early castle age.
Then it's better for Baek-T to build those walls back because he knew that he had to be heavily outnumbered when it came to crossbows.
But it's the mindset. What's the mindset going to be like in this situation? How clean can you play when the pressure is on? And for Brazil, I mean, there's been no question how good they can play here in Game 5. Miguel even skipping the 3rd TC, going 4 stable knights. They want to kill quickly.
Uh-oh. Miguel is going deep.
He should. There's no armor for Back yet. And there's no team.
Second armor's ticking in.
I think you might want to back away now because there's too many town centers, but they're happily taking out the knights. And look at this confidence from Brazil. Who cares about Persian TCs? Oh, my word.
Oh, yeah, and those numbers are non-existent now for Baek-T. So many villagers falling behind this one. Look at how many villagers are idle as well.
Oh, man. And Back to did have a slight Vill lead. No longer has that. And this is, after a long wait to get Game 5, this might be the game unless ACCM has something to show for it. Doesn't feel like he will, though. And the human side of it always hits me around this time because I feel so bad for the team that would lose in Game 5, especially in the dramatic fashion that this all went down with them coming back to get here, Vietnam. But, Nilly.
You did come back 2 games to die like this?
You came back 2 games to die like this. Brutal. Please, hearts and smileys and respect and whatever for Vietnam, guys. Because, again, they played for 4 hours to get here. It wasn't 2 hours to die like this. It was 4 hours. They've been training. They had to work hard, as did all the teams. And to make it all the way back to just lose has to be frustrating. Plus, you had the aspects prior to the game, right? They've got to be disappointed in themselves. They were 3rd place back in 2018. even beating Norway there. But Brazil will move on to the semifinals, and Brazil will face China. Woo! China, a team who beat Finland. China, a team who was in the finals in 2018. So it only gets more difficult for Brazil. But Nili, what do you have to say about Brazil here? They were probably the favorite team going into this set. They had a lot of, they had to deal with a lot of pressure and a lot of adversity here.
Yeah, the scrappy Team Island game was really ugly for them. And Chaos Pit, it didn't really feel like they had a crazy plan, or at least like the asset transition didn't really work. But the standard games, especially Arabia and Ghost Lake, looked really sharp. And China should be scared of the meta games.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that makes the really exciting semifinal because it's not only a best of 5, it's a best of 7. And Blix and Yo did not look good on Arabia, on Golden Pit, on Ghost Lake. So we might have Brazil picking more of those maps, and then we might see Nomad, Team Islands, Chaos Pit picked by China when that semifinal comes around.
Yeah, feels very likely. Team Acropolis could be a lovely one between those two teams.